Some isolated showers overnight, low 56. Tomorrow's high up to about 76. Risk of scattered showers picking up in the afternoon hours, and showers and storms become likely Saturday night. Could be some leftover showers even on Sunday, and Sunday's a little cooler with a high in the mid-60s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
1819 News.
Well, there's a bizarre development in Birmingham when it comes to billboards. A group called Bright Blue Dots is putting out money for the billboards in order to smear U.S. Senators Katie Britt and Tommy Tuberville as Russian assets for Vladimir Putin. The billboards put Senator Tuberville in a Russian fur hat with a red star on it, saying he's pulling for Putin. And another one has a picture of Senator Britt and Vladimir Putin, with Britt calling him president. The third billboard makes no sense at all with its written text, but it does still try to make Tuberville and Britt look like they're aligned with Russia. On the website for Bright Blue Dots, the group aligns itself with Southern Poverty Law Center, the ACLU, Emily's List, and the National Resources Defense Council. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Are you enjoying 1819 News? If so, consider joining 1819 News as a member. As a nonprofit news organization, we depend on the support of Alabamians like you. Memberships start out as little as $5 a month, and you'll get access to exclusive content only offered to our members. You'll be supporting independent journalism done by people who cherish Alabama values. Become a member today by visiting 1819news.com and clicking Become a Member. That's 1819news.com and click Become a Member today.
The public safety director for the city of Mobile, along with Mobile's police chief, will be conducting a town hall meeting on gun violence this coming March 13th. The public is encouraged to come and engage with city leaders and collaborate on solutions for this gun violence. The meeting will be held at Revelation Missionary Baptist Church. A carjacking suspect is now in police custody after an incident happened this past Tuesday in Bessemer. The female victim claims that she was giving 24-year-old Amani Amos a ride when he pushed her out of the vehicle and drove away, injuring her in the process. Amos is now in the Jefferson County Jail without bond. I'm Andrea Tyson.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
We all want access to care and coverage we need to stay healthy, but Farm Bureau health plans aren't the answer. They are unregulated and unreliable when it comes to covering you and your family. If you have cancer or another pre-existing condition, well, you'd be out of luck. Alabama deserves better than empty promises. Call your state legislator now and tell them to vote no on Farm Bureau health plans. Visit fightcancer.org/Alabama. It's time for real health insurance.
Paid for by the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network.
For reliable electrical services in Central Alabama, trust the experts at Crosby Electric. Crosby's licensed and insured electricians are ready to tackle any project for your home, from troubleshooting, repairs, to installing new lighting and preventive maintenance. And Crosby understands the need for quality service for small business. Crosby is big enough for the largest job, yet small enough to bring real value. Visit CrosbyElectric.com to schedule your service. Crosby, powering Central Alabama with excellence.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's Conversational Radio Show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
After damning politicians uphill and down dale for many years as rogues, vagabonds, frauds, and scoundrels, I sometimes suspected, like everyone else, I often expect too much of them.
It's all a fugazi. You know what fugazi is?
Fugazi. It's a fake.
Yeah, fugazi. It's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It's never landed. It is no matter. It's not on the elemental chart. It's not real. Right?
Oh, girl, baby girl. Oh, really? Don't even play.
Shut up, silly woman.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the Friday edition of the program. It's a happy day, or I'm going to try to make it a happy day, even if you're not happy out there. And it's not even a show called Happy Hour that comes up after us.
Right.
We'll just call this Joey Clark Live. And in the studio, we have the regular Friday crew. Eddie wearing his gear. Turn your camera a little bit there.
How's that?
I like that. I like that embroidery you got going on. It says 2 pies.
2 pies.
Eddie 2 pies. And
Yes.
I still have mine. By the way, I tried it on and made sure I still had it.
That's good to hear. Good to hear.
And Craig Monger rejoins the show after an absence, I guess, last week.
Yes. Sorry, my
What's
chair.
going on with your chair?
My chair's
Are
a
you
little
rocking over there, baby?
It's a little wonky. I am rocking in the free world, though. Speaking of Eddie's shirt, I've seen that brand on every, frat boy that goes fishing. Is it pronounced Huck or Hook or
Okay,
what?
so I'm like you. I
thing.
thought for several years I pronounced it Hook. They actually do pronounce it Hook.
Is it like
Hook.
a Maori thing?
I
Like a Samoan thing? Like hookah.
I guess. Well, I think they were trying to be trendy, and
Yeah.
So,
It stuck around, it didn't go the way of the Sperry, and it
Not yet.
didn't die away.
give it another year.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's probably the last year. This will be around.
we'll see.
I don't love that materials feel. On
I
my,
do.
on
I
my
love
skin.
it. It's
Yeah,
flexible.
I like
it's
cotton.
soft.
Like,
and
I don't know.
silky a little bit sometimes.
I know, but it's your uniform. I'm not knocking it.
Yeah,
It's just
I
not
like
for me.
If it's tight fitting, I don't mind it. Like the loose stuff, but even the tight fitting stuff, like the
Yeah.
compression underwear.
Right.
I'm telling you, the best underwear in the world is Lululemon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you
I
for
don't know how
that.
you boys wear the compression underwear. I don't know how y'all do it.
What are you,
I
a
tried.
boxer? Are you a boxer man?
Boxer brief kind of guy.
You don't chafe?
Nope.
Yes,
Used
yeah,
to,
you-
but the whole fitting.
Yeah.
Ow.
No, mine. I don't get the size where it's like squeezing.
I do.
The next topic coming up here on this Friday will be: do you bunch or fold?
That's right.
272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. Quick rundown of the headlines here. Trump mulls sanctions tariffs on Russia to bring about a ceasefire and actually get them to the table. You have the corporate media saying, well, looks like Trump's really reining in Elon Musk or something like that. And as in a private meeting, Republican senators expressed frustration over cuts.
Oh.
People are complaining, and in politics, the rule is you never do anything that upsets anybody because we want to be perpetual quisling losers and not actually do anything other than get our picture taken.
Why are they getting upset over the cuts?
Well, we'll get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Starship flight ends in explosion over the Caribbean.
Yeah, wow.
Or is it how Billy Ocean says it? Caribbean?
Caribbean Queen.
Mm-hmm. But Mechazilla still makes booster catch, which was pretty
cool.
epic.
Yeah.
And I thought the fireworks show was quite something
amazing,
to behold.
man.
A World War II bomb halts Paris-London trains.
That happens all the time.
Yeah, that's pretty frequent.
Yeah.
But still, like, all these years later, they're finding bombs. Like,
On
we
the
probably
regular,
shouldn't
man.
run the trains.
Japan, too, on the regular.
Scott Bessent and the economic advisor for Trump are all saying the economy is kind of showing signs of expected weakness. And we'll get into what the heck that even means. Yesterday evening, Trump establishes the United States Strategic Bitcoin Reserve.
Yay.
Okay, good.
And there is a massive crypto summit happening today. A lot of the Bitcoin maxis hoping that Michael Saylor will orange pill the president. We'll see. I think he's already pretty orange pill.
Yeah, I think so.
Of course, we saw earlier this week the Epstein files will be redacted, citing national security concerns, which makes you just go, what national security concerns?
You know.
Yep.
You know. Everyone knows.
Yep. That's what's so sad. Everybody knows.
Also, things that everybody knows, but it took a study to bring up headlines. We have a study that came out yesterday from the University of Texas. There's also another one out of Oxford where sexual mutilation of children, transgender surgeries, actually increases risk of suicides, increases bad mental health states,
Not a surprise.
worse outcomes for mental health.
Not a surprise.
How much of a delay do we have? Just wondering about the dump button situation that we got here, because you
Is it up
both
and running?
Please don't. I have to
You
be on my
up and
toes all the
running?
time.
you have
Please don't.
subsequently brought up two things that are guaranteed to get me
Triggered. Trigger?
And I didn't get to it yesterday. Jonathan Turley saying there's still hope for the Supreme Court to rule in Trump's favor in the USAID case. So maybe I'll read that a little later. But here locally, here's something I want to rant about for a moment. I might even write an op-ed about it if I still feel the anger.
Mhm.
I did see the reporting on the Russian-themed billboards in Birmingham with like Katie Britt and Tommy Tuberville's faces. And my basic question is, how many more people need to be maimed and killed for you hick libs in your mission to save the world for democracy? I thought we'd learned our lesson in the early 2000s. I thought you hick libs were actually all on board with well, George W. Bush's nation building doesn't work out. You're not going to get a Jeffersonian democracy, spilling blood in the sands of the Middle East. Where did that logic go? Where? How many more people need to die for these false idols? Because it's not even democracy at the end of the day.
Right.
It's just a nice scheme put together by the deep state for major corporate interests in the West to sweep on in. Come on, guys. But no, we can afford billboards and be like, you're just Russian stooges. How many more people have to die for this nonsense? Seriously.
Name a few that I hope.
No, and it's a general theme I'm worrying about more and more. So many folks who talk a great game about human rights, talk a great game about democracy and liberty and freedom, they often end up pursuing strategies and tactics that end up just hurting people's human rights, that end up making the systems they hail as democratic pretty undemocratic in many ways. And I'm just annoyed by it. But we'll see. That's I guess the group is called Bright Blue Dots, and you can guess what that means. It means little blue cities and deep red states. But
I thought it was little blue R's. Sorry. But I mean, it's like the problem. This is the problem with the left. Is like not only are they wrong, they're just not funny. It's like this isn't clever. It's like they got Plojalustya, which is like please in Russia. Like, I don't even know what that means. Like, look it up, Tubbs. Plojalustya. Huh?
Yeah.
And it's like, what they did is that they just found a Russian word, and they were just like, oh, hey, here you go.
Right.
I don't... I have yet to find, and I love asking this question when I run into pro-Ukraine people. Mm-hmm. Why? That I have not heard a convincing, we need to back Ukraine. Why?
Well, a sovereign nation had its borders invaded and all this stuff. You mean like Libya or Iraq,
Syria,
Afghanistan? Though you could justify invading that border, but fighting a 1-year war 20 years over, that was pretty bad.
That was pretty rough.
I do not argue with the initial Afghan war. That was pretty badass. Like that was great. We do know how to hurt people and bad guys.
You mean when we armed the Taliban, that first Afghan war?
Yeah. Well, let's just say the whooping we put on the Taliban was pretty quick. But then we ended up like
funding them to take over to get rid of Assad.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, that was ISIS. I lose track of the terrorist groups that are the funds.
Right. So I'm a little
Hamas too, by the way.
I'm a little annoyed by and the talk of human rights and spreading democracy. You have number one grifts on top of grifts on top of grifts, as you can tell with all this USAID money. And then again, why is it only American lives that count? Why am I the one sounding like the commie pinko right now? Why is it only American lives that count? And yet you cheer as Ukrainians and Russians, the flower of their youth, are ground up in that meat grinder we haven't seen since World War I.
I think I'm not even kidding here. I think that a lot of the very wealthy old American politicos are trying to get rid of the marriageable age men in Ukraine so they can go in there and just clean house.
Actually, that's not a bad theory.
I seriously,
not the worst theory in the world at all.
I'm not even being funny here. I think that plays into like more women for us.
But then moving away from that little rant, that was just a petite rant. You spent a lot of time this week at the State House.
More than I'd like to, Joey.
Is that smell?
What?
Is that smell that's attached to you?
No. Well, I mean, there is one reporter that does smell like a dying corpse.
Oh,
a dead corpse, excuse me.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
So that might have stuck
That's a great coworker
But
to hang around with.
You might be smelling my leather jacket.
It was the mold that they have down there, and I know it can attach to people's stuff, and maybe it's just the studio.
There are some people, I don't know what it is about women that work in that building that insist on wearing perfume exclusively designed for 50-year-olds.
Yeah.
But yeah, every once in a while they'll walk past you and you're just like, you smell like you should be handing out Werthers.
You sure like that reporter hasn't just recently read Neil Strauss's The Game and he's following one of the challenges? To just go with your regular musk for about 2 weeks?
Yeah, apparently, you know who does that apparently? Matthew McConaughey.
Yes, I saw the video like that.
But no, this isn't just like I don't shower. This is like I shower in human excrement. That's what that is.
I don't know what that is. I know what you're talking about, but man, I don't know. Sometimes somebody smells so bad, you're like, I can't even understand the stank.
Dude,
yeah, it makes no sense.
When we were building Hyundai, we had Slovaks in there doing work, and their hygiene is less than grand. Yeah. But they would steal our Febreze regularly that we would keep in the offices to kind of, keep the smell down. So finally I asked Bruno one day, I was like, why? Well, who keeps stealing Febreze? He's like, our apartments, they stink. It's It's like, it's you guys. It's y'all. If y'all will shower. He said, no, this is natural man's musk. Very powerful. It's like, not here in the States, man. You stink. You just stink.
Yeah, it's like people are like, what about the aluminum in the deodorant? It's like, I will die smelling flowery rather than live forever with people hate. Like, people, when you smell bad, people hate you.
Oh, dude.
And especially in that place, like you're all up next to
That's
each
gonna say,
other.
it's
You're
close
in the fishbowl,
proximity.
like,
Yeah.
it's a night.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of arm slapping too, like, how you doing, son? And like all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you need to at least have some basic hygiene if you're going to be a close talker, if you're going to be back slapping.
Ooh, yeah.
But
the close talking. There's some guys.
Yeah,
there's some
buddy.
fellas there.
Well, that's when you come with that Banaka. Over there, mid-word.
How could you be any more of an old man? Banaka.
Banaka, man.
Is that what in Dumb and Dumber, where he misses his mouth? He goes, yeah.
That's the good stuff, man.
So the House does pass the Veterans Board overhaul in just 10 minutes.
In just over 10 minutes. Like, it was just slightly over 10 minutes total.
And there was really no debate other than Wandel Gavan got up and spoke.
Which I don't know what freaking alternate dimension that we entered where Wandel Gavan is the voice of reason this session. No, I'm serious. She's gotten up there.
And she's been great on other issues too.
I know, it's nuts. It's like, you've entered the twilight zone. And so, yeah, she got up there and asked some pretty legitimate questions. And again, people are allowed to vote how they want, even though there's someone who hasn't been there since session started that magically voted and has for the entire session.
That's interesting.
People vote on each other's machines all the time. But yeah, there was no debate, no discussion, even though it's literally the most contentious bill of the session.
Right.
So, and even, I mean, even House Speaker Ledbetter, I'll have a story on that later, where he was like, dude, he's like, Craig, I agree with you. I was expecting it to go for hours.
Wow.
And, yeah.
Well, and there was a lot of rumor they didn't have the
whip.
votes. That's why there was a delay. But I guess in the moment, like you had the governor's office, calling people or representatives from the governor's office there on the floor.
Yeah, well, he was walking around. By the way, if you work for the governor's office, don't try to wrangle votes right outside the press room. I'm going to report on it. And so, yeah.
That's
there
good
was
reporting there, Greg. Good reporting.
Yeah, there's a guy from Ivy's Legislative Affairs guy, and he was going to lawmakers and trying to like, hey, we done everything we can do. It's great. It's all this. And so I was sitting there. I came in there thinking, hey, if they put it on the calendar, they have the votes. But when you see someone really trying to wrangle votes at the last minute, it's pretty interesting. So yeah, they got it done. It's head to Ivy's desk, and she wins again.
Yeah, again.
And then also there was a big, and this is actually what some of the protest was about with Thomas Jackson, I guess, yesterday. It's this big crime package of bills, in particular the one granting, say, immunity to officers in the course of their duties.
It pretty much, the term qualified immunity is a kind of a catch-all term. It's not actual defined. But this would be like, we did have qualified immunity previously, but we are erasing the previous statutes and replacing it with new ones that put a higher level of proof on the plaintiffs to prove that an officer has engaged in misconduct, which you know how I feel about the police state, so you know that I was absolutely thrilled with this bill.
Right. But that's what Democrats really, and it became more than just about that bill. It became about, and we actually got a preview from Anthony Daniels. He's a little nicer about it here in the studio. But they're upset about the limited number, how limited the time is now on the floor.
Yeah, well, I mean, when House Speaker Ledbetter came in, he immediately pushed through some rule changes about the debate time. But there is still plenty of debate. So for every action, essentially, you get an hour of debate. So when they come up with the calendar, you have an hour to debate on the calendar. When you present a bill, then you have an hour to talk on the budget isolation resolution. After that, you then have an hour to debate on the bill, an hour to debate on any amendments or any substitution. So that can kind of stack up.
Sure.
And so what they were mad about yesterday, and I was actually surprised when I was in the press room, I was looking around like, did I miss something? When they say, hey, we have the special order calendar, that is the question before the body, special order calendar, all in favor say aye, and then moved on. And then Thomas Jackson immediately comes to the mic, and it was looking like, I was actually standing next to the sergeant at arms when I was videotaping. I was kind of looking at him like, you're about to get involved? What was about to happen? But no, he just railed and talked about Ledbetter abusing his authority. And I talked to Ledbetter afterwards, and he said, nobody came to me and said they wanted to debate, because typically that's what happens is they come to him beforehand and say, hey, I'm going to do this. And they'll give that essentially that kudos to the Democrats so they don't bitch and moan too much.
Right.
But he said nobody came to me, and then as I was calling for the vote, I looked down and see Thomas Jackson's light. So he just said like it just wasn't made to my attention. But in his defense, Thomas Jackson is really one of the more grating people in there. He will get up there and blather nonsense for hours on end. And it really is at the discretion of the chair whether he wants to let him. So he gets, I'm telling you, if I were speaker, Thomas Jackson would get about 5% of the time that he gets currently.
Well, and, no matter the final votes, and I mean, this will be talked about, especially that overall the Veterans Board is, I think there are going to be a lot of people running in primaries coming up in 2026.
400,000 veterans in this state, and they vote.
Right, and there are a lot of the VSOs that still did not sign off on this and are very unhappy about that.
Yes, and the rank and file in the ones that did are not happy at all. The biggest one being the American Legion. I talked to several American Legion folks just in passing and for the story that I did, and they said that we as a state, as a state, they have individual posts, but as a state, we were not polled. And several outposts, or I can't remember the term that they use, several individual outposts or whatever they're called, weren't polled either. But the ones that were, the ones that did get polled, overwhelmingly, the rank and file did not want it.
That's why they stopped polling.
Pretty much. And there was also people that weren't asked to the table. There was a member of the board who's also a member of the American Legion, and he told me yesterday that he was essentially excluded from talks and negotiation, which just is as R-worded as you can get. He's on the board.
Right.
So I don't.
Well, and as much as I admit I don't get certain things, and certain things are very popular that I don't necessarily like, but I'll admit there's Governor Ivey's strong. She's strong.
I don't know how she gets her way,
but she does. So I got to give credit there in the sense of that's just a fact.
Look, the last thing that last year she didn't get gambling. All right, that was the first. Before that, it was like what, 5 years, and she didn't get her toll bridge.
Right.
So that's like literally an entire term where you got everything that you put as a priority.
Well, and maybe it's
even the toll bridge, you got a federal grant for it later, so it all just happened.
Well, and you got to wonder how much leverage does she and her folks have, and then the size of the ask with a K.
Yeah,
the size of the ask, and something like gambling is a big ask. Whereas something like this overhaul, they probably don't see it. It's not going to overhaul the very personality of state politics.
Yeah, you're right, and she doesn't have to worry about those 400,000 people voting for her next time. So she can be as petty as she
everybody who voted for it. Yeah, y'all better be paying attention. Now, that said, again, in this crime package, there was the police immunity, increased penalties for resisting arrest.
Yeah.
That passed, 78-14. I'm looking at your own reporting here. Senate Bill 116, the Glock switch ban, that passed, 78-22. And enhanced penalties for impersonating a police officer. State Senator Clyde Chambliss put that on. I didn't even know that was a thing. You shouldn't impersonate an officer, obviously.
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone kind of has an idea of like what impersonating a police officer is. This is actually quite common. Like people will pretend to be police, whether they're mentally ill or they're just, they're fat and they can't pass the test, but they really want to do the do. They'll just throw on a badge and a gun and pull people over with lights. And in fact, actually in the state several years ago, there was a problem of a guy doing that and he was trying to grab up on some women folk. But no, this one just adds that if you're impersonating a police officer, if you attempt to be employed or remain employed as a police officer whenever your certification from A post C has been taken away.
Okay, so it adds a little wrinkle.
So it just includes. So it's the same penalty for impersonating a police officer. It just includes that definition. Now I don't know if there was a precipitating event for that. There must have been.
And that passed 98-0 with 4 abstentions.
Yeah,
so that makes sense. That's a sound bill, I think, by Clyde Chambliss there.
And the Glock switch ban, again, it had plenty of people voting against it. I think they were just trying to give the Dems a little bit of a warm back rub.
I didn't see what's the difference. It's already illegal federally. One person did call in saying the feds are much more skilled and just have experience with actually prosecuting these crimes.
That's pretty true.
And so why would the state want to why don't you just keep feeding these to the feds? Why you have state courts and all these new
and
things
state
that
prisons? Why add a new population that's going to be going to state prisons rather than federal prisons? I think that's kind of
that was the best I heard of the few months this was out there. But
I honestly, I don't want people prosecuted for having Glock switches, so I don't care if our state sucks at it or not. If you kill someone with a Glock switch, then you're just getting charged with capital murder anyway. So, but just for having one, couldn't care less. If I could have one right now, I would.
272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. So much to get to today, but let's go to Don on line 1. Hey, Don, how you doing?
You get it.
Well, I'm a little tired listening, but you finally got to me. Hey, have y'all spent any time talking about the liars of the City of Montgomery Council?
The liars?
Yeah, the past the 3% tax thing.
What are they lying about it?
Well, tell me where they go spend the money.
I'd imagine roads. Next week we'll have the mayor, and the week after that we'll have Andrew Szymanski to talk about.
Why did they earmark it for roads if that's what they want to spend it on?
Because they're not going to spend it on roads.
Yeah, it's a lie, always a lie. I thought our first black mayor run on the coffers were full in Montgomery. What did they do with all the money they got from the federal government for infrastructure?
They painted Black Lives Matter on an historical fountain.
It's true.
Yeah, and they lied about that. Y'all remember going back, and I think it was on your station, the first black mayor claimed that was water-soluble paint. And would just wash off.
He did all those years ago, yeah.
Yeah, it's all lies. It doesn't. Jen Wright's my councilman. I feel like I'm back in the day where they did that tea thing. I don't have any kind of representation for my taxation. My councilman ain't worth for crap, and I think I got figures for my House representative.
Yeah, I've got figures. I've got Insler in the State House. I've got Grimes, I believe, on the council.
Well, he's good, but
like
like this Glock switch thing. Let's pass it. Why you pass laws when you ain't even going to arrest anybody and put them in jail? It's so stupid. The first thing they do if they arrested somebody and he was black and had a Glock switch, well, we're not going to put the brother in jail. It's stupid. Why pass laws that you ain't going to enforce?
Because they're showing they're doing something. I think it's stupid too, though. I'm not arguing with you.
But this money thing with the city of the 3 cents, I guarantee you, if Jen Wright voted on it, it's probably because he's got some sort of scam to go into the Coliseum or something. I mean, they told us they had all kinds of money to fix roads in Montgomery. The coffers are supposed to be full from federal dollars. Where are those money? We spent $20,000 a month. Would somebody tell us how to spend that money? What do we get out of that?
Good questions all. And again, next week on Wednesday, we'll have the mayor. And the week after that on Wednesday, we'll have Andrew Szymanski.
Oh, my God. That would be the biggest waste of time in the world. What do you get out of bringing him on?
He's the mayor and he can communicate. And I appreciate it, Don. And I'll always appreciate being able to waste your time. Thank you for listening. 272-9228. Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Yes, this is Mr. Nobody.
Mr. Nobody.
Mr. Nobody.
Yeah, in regards to the veterans bill, I read the bill. I don't know how many of our quote-unquote legislators read the bill, but you only have to serve for 60 days to be the commissioner. And then you can admit or appoint as many assistant commissioners as you want to. So guess what, everybody? It has turned into a political pond and a Ponzi scheme for them to waste the veterans' money.
Yeah, that's about right.
Not arguing with you at all.
Yeah, I mean, that is, I've talked to my representative. He said it was a good bill, and that certain folks, and I will say his name, Representative Starnes.
Mm-hmm.
I called him back after he said it was amended, so it wasn't that bad, and it was a good thing. Well, this is not a good thing. Alabama veterans are not in a good position because of this bill.
Yep.
Well, in that 400,000 plus community, they need to let their voices be heard in the upcoming primaries in 2026.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the bill is like it's as good as it can possibly be, while making the advocate commissioner a cabinet position. It really can't be any better than it is. So that's like the main complaint, is that people don't want the head to be a political appointee.
I don't mind if the head is an appointee from the governor. However, the board needs to have say-so, because they don't need to be an advisory. They need to approve.
Well, see, that's the thing.
Anybody that
But
goes in
that's
there.
where you kind of can't have your cake and eat it too, because you really that's not how cabinet boards work. You can't have two spheres of authority in that regard, where you have a commissioner who's a cabinet position appointed by the governor, and then have a board that he has to answer to as well. You can't have both at the same time. So if you want your cabinet position, you have to have decreased authority from the board.
Well, that's fine. Let the board say, here's the 3 or 4 or 5 people that we want appointed, and you pick the one that you want out of this 3, 4, or 5. I mean, look at how long they've been trying to get rid of public health, and they ain't done nothing to them. So, I mean, it's the same exact theory. So I can guarantee you that at least one representative has lost as many votes as I can talk to, the people I can talk to, and I know several veterans. So
Yes, sir. The primaries is where y'all can really make your voice heard. I appreciate it, Mr. Nobody.
thank you, and y'all have a wonderful day.
You too. Have a good weekend. Let's go to line 4. You're on there. Who's this?
Soldier Boy.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Mr. Chunky, why don't you drop down and give me 20?
20's easy, man.
That's right. I'm being kind today. I'm in a good mood today. The weather is beautiful. God's blessed me. Everything's good, Joey.
That's awesome. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, I'm going to talk about it. You know me. I always got something to talk about.
I know. I'm wondering what it is.
Well, I used to work for the city in the IT department, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I went, the first mayor I went through was Bobby Bright, okay? And here's what's funny was, okay? The state law said and a balanced budget must be presented to the city council in order to approve it, okay? Here's what's funny is, I was talking to Mayor Bright, and he said, yeah, we're a few bucks short here and there. He says, I just dipped into what Emory Palmer had some reserve. I was like, wait a minute. How can it be balanced when I got to steal from somebody else to put up to make mine look good? I think a balanced budget, if you're going to present it to me, should stand on its own. Shouldn't have to borrow money from it and dip in some other copper that's set aside for emergencies, not just for your little fluky left-wing progressive programs. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does.
And the second thing about it is, when I was in the city, remember where did we go from 8 cents to 10 cents?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna be temporary.
What's that word? Temporary.
Yep.
I mean, that's the longest damn temporary I've ever seen.
No, I think it's essentially like just common knowledge now that this mayor and many on the council want to tax people more so they have more money to spend on all these little projects.
Yeah. They want to turn us into a blue city, like all these other successful blue cities we have right
Here's
here.
the problem about that, Eddie. It's easy to spend money when it's somebody else's and not yours.
Mm-hmm. Right. They're having no trouble with that.
My mom used to tell me, oh, it's easy spending that money when it's your dad's money had to work for, because I was working back groceries for tips, you know?
Yep.
And I asked for some money from my dad. And Mom said, it's easy when it's somebody else worked for it. I thought, yeah, you got a point there. But I remember that. Boy, he stood up there and just lied to his freaking teeth and said, what? Oh, it's temporary.
Temporary. Get us out of this little jam we're in right now.
How many years has that been now since Bobby's been in office?
Oof.
God.
Many.
And you notice one thing, it's all about the money. Here's what's funny is, like you were saying, Eddie, once they get a taste of that extra money, okay, that's what taxes are,
That's
extra
right.
money for them, they are never going back. They never releasing it. They're like a pit bull with a little poodle in their mouth, and they're not going to let go. Never will they let go, because I would be shocked if I was the mayor and I went in there and I said, you know what? They made a promise 20 years ago. I would run on it too. I'd say, you know what? We're going to go, we're going to have I still think you can run the city and be a good steward of our tax money and run it leaner and still have the same items to be offered and programs to the people. I think there's just waste out there.
Sure.
I agree.
So, all right, guys.
Well,
Appreciate that.
and whether it's you, Soldier Boy, or anybody else out there, if you have questions for the mayor or a city council member, they'll be on the next following Wednesdays, and that'll be a regular schedule for the next few months. What I find is that I hear a bunch of people call me up before they're on, and then they don't call up when they're on.
Joey, I don't want to be disrespectful to you, okay?
But
I love that word, but, that conjunction, but every time the mayor comes on, you get all soft, man, like a soft ice cream at Dairy Queen on a cone. I swear, man.
It's a great analogy.
You just get really soft. And I say, where's the Joey with a cassette of kahunas? Did you get neutered? I was like,
Was ice cream really the best thing you could think of for softness?
What is it worth other than I guess emotional satisfaction for me to invite somebody in and just pick a fight with them?
No, you don't have to pick a fight. Just talk the facts. You can be like Trump said. You can talk to me if you want to. That's not a problem. But you don't got to be disrespectful. And Joey, I don't think you'd ever be disrespectful. But I think you need to ask the hard questions.
Joey's not going to defend himself. He does ask hard questions. I pick a fight with Stephen Reed, and that's why I never get to talk to him.
Wait a minute. When's the last time you picked a fight with him? When?
Please tell me you're joking.
Well, on a newspaper or on the web?
Yes. As a journalist, I've picked multiple fights with Stephen Reed, and he's gotten lots of mud in his face.
Okay, I understand that. But to me, it's a lot different when it's delivered face to face, man to man.
Yeah, because we have different mandates. Joey is here trying to get answers from the mayor of a city that he lives in and operates a radio show, and I'm a journalist.
I agree. Ask questions. I just want harder questions. I don't need no pansy soft ice cream kind of answers.
Oh my God, with the ice cream again. Pick a different soft analogy. Okay. Ice cream isn't always soft. You have to let it sit out for a bit. It gets hard.
All right, Cotton Candy Boy.
You know the mayor was sued for stuff he has said on this show, right?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I remember those cases where he was getting threatened by that. Was that guy? That's my dog or so. That's my kid or something. He said he was going to sue him about some kind of phone call that talked about him. Nothing ever come about it.
Yeah, yours truly was the first one to publish those phone calls, BTW.
Right.
Do you remember that one? Yeah.
BTW.
And what did he say? Oh, I'm going to sue for defamation of character.
Right.
He ain't going to say that about me.
Right, and then when I asked him about it on the show, the things he said about Charles Lee then created another suit for defamation of character.
Correct.
Did that ever go through, or you just talked about, I'm going to sue you?
I don't think he ever did, actually. I think the Charles Lee lawsuit did go through.
that was going through,
Right.
not the other way around. Yeah.
Charles, who sued Charles? You mean Charles Lee got sued by the mayor?
No.
Vice versa.
Oh, he did. And what result came of that? Is it gone to court yet?
I don't believe it's gone to court yet.
Probably settled.
Before it goes to court.
That's going to be interesting. But at the end of the day, I think there's a right and a wrong, and somebody has to be accountable.
Okay.
I said my piece. Okay, I'm good for today.
See you, Soldier Boy.
Thanks, Spartacus.
272-9228. Hey, how about this? Let's hit a break. Honestly, there are days where I can really give a damn about local politics. Bush League bull crap.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Sample rate is life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by Ernest Financial.
If you're tired of losing your money in the stock market, call David Ernest, 334-279-7431. Ernest Financial, LLC.
Everybody, be flexible with your weekend plans. It's not going to rain all the time, but there's going to be rain around both Saturday night, and Sunday. Today is dry, though, with a sun and cloud mix. Not as cool, high in the low 70s. Dry through the evening hours tonight. Maybe some isolated showers overnight, low 56. Tomorrow's high up to about 76. Risk of scattered showers picking up in the afternoon hours, and showers and storms become likely Saturday night. Could be some leftover showers even on Sunday, and Sunday's a little cooler with a high in the mid-60s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
At CB&S Bank, we've been meeting the needs of our customers since 1906. Need help setting up new business goals? Our line of commercial loans can help you achieve them. Go to cbsbank.com to find a location near you. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. And let's go to the phones and talk to Sam.
Aye.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, fellas.
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing very well.
You a little
I'm doing
hungover
good.
from the birthday celebration there?
I look awful, okay? Literally, that's what I'm doing right now on the old house. I've been camped out up in here. I'm getting all the garbage and cans and crap out. Did everything wrong. I'm swollen like a tick, but you know what? I have the love of Jesus.
But you had a good birthday though, right?
I had a good birthday.
All right, that's all that matters.
There's no waste. My sister, she and I were talking earlier, and it's like the whole 60 thing we're laughing about. That just doesn't roll off the tongue. But,
It does when you're talking about somebody else, but not yourself.
hey, absolutely. And it's fun stuff. I'm glad I'm a human being, man, and I'm enjoying this, and glad I'm here.
Yes, sir.
Heck yeah, brother.
I got. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
Oh, I just said, heck yeah, brother. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Hey, Craig.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
I got you a question in just a second, but first, I had a vision.
Oh.
You know, I heard about Governor Tommy Tuberville a few years from now, and Alabama Dodge. He gets the Alabama Dodge.
Doge.
Doge. Oh, yes, Alabama Doge. That's old Doge. They're going to drive it right on in here in Alabama. Then maybe we'll find out. Maybe the VA will all, everything will. Anyway,
That's so funny, Sam.
Oh, my God.
I'm sorry.
You're killing me.
I try, man. This is all, it's what you get while I'm on hold. My question.
Dang it,
Hey.
Sam. You got me rolling.
Oh, good deal. Listen here. Here you go. What about the THCA? Okay. Alabama, it's the best therapy going out there. Is that yay or nay, or was any word on that in this session?
All right. Well, I mean, there's a bill been filed to ban it. They did a bunch of crazy amendments because they realized that it's like enforcement of it is just going to be more trouble than it's worth.
Yep.
So they amended it, but I honestly don't think it's going. I don't think there's an appetite.
Stuck in committee.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of an appetite to take it anywhere. Truly.
No, seriously, because there are several, and people think of like the gas station,
Right.
And that's like
kinda
the
worst
dumbest
case
place
scenario,
to buy
right.
that stuff.
Worst case scenario.
But there are plenty of little shops run by entrepreneurs, people of all different walks, ages.
Yes.
And if you're going to shut all that down across the state, I think there's no appetite for it. It's
Yeah,
great.
the economic impact would not be great for the state.
Plus, all these people, a lot of these people invested everything they had to go into business, and you'd let them go into business, and then 2 years later, go, oh, this is illegal now.
Look what they did with Kratom. It's like there was stop. Like what was that? There were so many stores where that was just essentially their bread and butter. And and with a swipe of a pen,
done with you.
A bunch of old R words in Montgomery just decided you can't make a living anymore.
And I don't know. I haven't heard anything on the latest on the Cannabis Commission, the Medical Cannabis Commission. I know Mark Wilkerson was trying to do, just one big deal with kind of all the parties to get this done. He's the attorney for the commission. Good guy, talented guy, but we'll see.
Can't they just put them all on a TP with a quarter pound of dope and get this thing settled out? I mean, it can't be that hard, guys. Come on.
This is actually a simple thing. It's been done in many other states, and and you won't make any money.
Oh, I like the Oklahoma approach, where Oklahoma had too many producers and suppliers. And it's like, I think that's a much better way to do it, but we chose the slow commission-based Alabama route.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay. Here you go. Here's the way to wrap this up. All right, I had to go into VA yesterday, take care of something. I was in and out, and I went by that little shop I talk about, the one I favor. There's some rep, but over on Mulberry, and there's a glut. There is. I've noticed down here in Troy, all the prices have dropped on the flour and whatnot. If you want some therapies, THC, and all that. But anyway, I got me a pre-roll for like $6 yesterday right off the counter. Sure was nice. And but anyway, all the prices there's a glut. That's what I'm getting to. Was there a joke there? I forgot. Let me go get the garbage out of the house.
All right, Sammy. We have a good day, brother.
Sam.
Thank y'all, gentlemen.
See you, bro.
I'm a little hungry after about 50 minutes into this program, and I wish I could just teleport during this next quick break.
We can take Craig.
Smokehouse Pit Barbecue.
Yes, we could all drop in there immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so good.
What are you eating on today?
Today, I would probably, being that it's close to 1 o'clock, I'd definitely go with a sandwich, start off with a sandwich. But I'm bringing in some mac cheese, probably a little bit of fried okra, and I'll definitely get some banana pudding to wrap things up with.
Okay, I'm going to keep your sides.
Okay.
The fried okra, the mac and cheese, and the banana pudding. Oh, my goodness. But I'm getting ribs.
Oh, you going with the ribs?
I'm slathering them with the hot barbecue sauce.
So do you like it when the sauce is just like sloppy dripping off of it? Is that your...
On a rib like that, the big spare rib like they're doing? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because you got handles with the big old rib.
Right.
So you can make it sloppy in a good way. I mean, if we're going to Smokehouse, Craig, what are you gnawing down?
I've never been yet. So
Need
let
to
me.
be.
I know.
Well, we're penciling this in.
Yeah, I've been wanting y'all to take me. But I'm a rib guy myself. In fact, you two are going to come over to my house at some point. I'm going to make you my ribs, mac and cheese, banana pudding, and I have to have some sort of potato with barbecue. So whether that's like potato wedges, French fries, a baked potato, I don't care. I need some potato.
I've seen a big baked potato my wife got from there one time, and she put all the barbecue that was left over from my sandwich on her potato. That looked amazing.
With bacon on it, too. Not bacon bits, which are an abomination before the Lord. Bacon.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and they have sweet potato fries, they have potato salad.
Wait, hold on. Sweet potato fries. Absolutely.
Okay.
Those are.
Sure you don't want some collards?
No, I'm not a collard.
Okay.
I like the collards.
But they're good there.
Nature's brew.
Fried green tomatoes, barbecue beans. And then, of course, you can go on the website and look at the breakfast menu.
They've got a breakfast.
Goodness. Just get a double helping of the cheese grits, your favorite like sausage or bacon or something on the side, and enjoy yourself. And custom-made biscuits, like they got a pork chop biscuit. They got a country fried steak biscuit. Oh, man. They can also have the sandwiches you can custom make. Steak and eggs, breakfast burritos, French toaster pancake. It's biscuits and gravy. It's a true down-home.
Yep.
Southern breakfast. So get by Smokehouse Pit Barbecue today, whether it's for lunch or dinner, dining in or taking out, and get by there for breakfast. Great way to start off the weekend on a Saturday.
It is.
And be sure to tell the great folks there when you stop by at Main Street in Millbrook. Tell them at Smokehouse that Joey and Eddie and Craig, those guys on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson with the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. My last message was the report for 2024 real estate market in the River region. According to industry experts, they predict for 2025, we will have more inventory to choose from for our buyers, more buyers for sellers to show their houses to. Here are 5 tips for buyers or sellers in 2025. Number 1, sellers need to price their home at fair market value with the help of your realtor. Number 2, Buyers need to be pre-qualified by a local lender prior to shopping for a house to save them time. Number 3, use a certified residential specialist or CRS to purchase or sell your home. Less than 2% of realtors nationwide have this designation. You need an expert now. 4, use someone with 48 years of real estate experience to help you with your largest investment. Number 5, quit waiting. Now's the time to buy or sell. Call Bo Goodson at 221-2883, the Goodson Group, or 551-0225.
Before you buy new floors at a discount store and get them installed by the cousin of a friend who does this kind of thing, consider the better option. Prattville Carpet carries the most reputable brands for selection, style, and quality you can trust. And with their non-transferable lifetime installation warranty, you'll never have to worry about hardwood warping or carpet buckling. Your floors will stay as beautiful as the day they installed them.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plank, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measure. Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
Hi, this is Danny with High Caliber Gun and Pawn. November we'll be celebrating 10 years doing business in the river region, and Blue Water Broadcasting has been an integral part of that 10 years. High Caliber Gun and Pawn, we say we are a step above the rest, and Blue Water Broadcasting definitely is that step.
Our advertisers are our biggest advocates. Call us to find out how radio can increase your bottom line. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. The news and views in the afternoon. Or as we call the show online, Joey Clark Live. You can always watch at Joey Clark Live on YouTube or at the Joey Clark on the X platform. And, of course, on Facebook. Though nobody seems to see it on Facebook for whatever reason.
My mom does.
Your mom does?
My mom does.
Well, that counts for something.
That always makes me feel good.
It certainly
mom
counts
likes
for something.
Our stream.
Let's go to Howard Dean. Hello, sir.
Hey, my brother. How you doing?
Good.
And Eddie, he doesn't know me, but Eddie.
Hey, Howard, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm blessed beyond all measure, my friend.
Nice.
More than I deserve. But so me being the Howard Dean, I got a little something to say, so you can carry me over if you want. But real quick, so I'd like to talk politics and legislation, being the Howard Dean, but I'd rather talk about pits and perfume. You had that little thing, going earlier. So anyhow, I love my mother's mother, my grandmother on my mom's side.
Uh-huh.
But man, I'd have to take 14 aspirin because I knew she was coming, because she had that, that handle, what we call, a gallon or more of wine or whatever, perfume. And I knew she was coming, and I instantly get a raging headache of that old woman perfume. You guys don't even know what I'm saying.
What, is she Italian?
So I love her. I give her a hug, and then she's like, Randy doesn't love me. Oh, that's my real name. But Randy doesn't love me. He loves you, Grandma, but your perfume. Now, let's go to Pitts. I was living in Vegas, and I got on the Amtrak going from Vegas to San Juan Capistrano, where the Swallows end up during the Monarch thingy and all that good stuff. But so I got on the train, all aboard, and as soon as I get in, I see all these hot women, all dark hair, little slight mustaches, but they were from France. It just so happened they were the college soccer team here for some kind of tournament, and they love the trains in Europe. So I saw all these hot women, but man, it was like hitting a wall of, it made my brain hurt as much as Grandma's perfume. The stench coming from their, what do they call it, musk? Female, male.
Yeah.
The musk, bro. I don't even like muskox, muskrats,
Muskets.
Anyway, you see what I'm saying? So anyway, happy Friday. I'd like to lighten the mood with some of that instead of just politics.
Oh, you made me
and I
smile.
love you, Joe.
Yes.
Love you, Eddie. You guys are awesome. I'm sounding like you more than Greg, even though,
Well, and say hello. We have a third in here named Craig Monger, and he's getting all butthurt over the fact that you've completely.
Greg.
Hi. I'm glad to be your afterthought.
Howard, you
Mr.
could be
God.
my campaign manager.
Don't call
you could be my
stop calling
campaign
yourself
manager.
Howard, Randy. You already forgot how a pseudonym works.
All right. Well, anyway, I love you guys.
See you, man. He's been calling the station for over a decade. He's a great dude.
I didn't know he's called before, but I was like, I thought he kept up with the pseudonym thing, and he was like,
Yeah, but when you start talking about perfume and pits, sometimes the truth comes out.
It is true, man. Those old ladies, they really like to throw it on, don't they?
Yeah, and it's not good. At a certain point, it's like, it's way too much. Or it's like when you first wear cologne as a teenager. You're like, well...
Or God, I grew up in the Axe body.
Yeah,
spray
oh, yes.
realm, yeah.
Oh, that was all the rage. A post-football game, we're going to a party later.
And all these like high school jocks thought that was doing the same thing as a shower, and it just wasn't.
No, it's awful. That's not good. I started believing in the whole aerosol destroying the ozone, just being in that locker room. I'm like, okay, this is destroying my ozone. I don't even know what that means.
I thought I was so bougie and fancy because I had like this chocolate Axe body spray, and I was like, man, chicks are gonna love this.
Anyway, this part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting. And that River Region Contracting, Todd Clark and the team there can help you with any and all of your roofing needs. And you should get it checked on a regular basis, that roof of yours, whether it's an asphalt shingle roof or a metal roof. They have unique problems that, just wear and tear over time, or could be with like recent storms that have been rolling through. Like that storm that rolled through earlier this week, those winds were very massive. So it could be you heard bumps in the middle of the night and you don't want to climb up in your own roof. Even if you get up there, what are you actually looking for unless it's obvious? No, you could have the pros come out from River Region Contracting. And here's the great news. Their inspections are always free. Their estimates, if they do find an issue, they'll write up an estimate for free. And they're insurance specialists. So they can walk you through that insurance claims process, make it a swift and easy experience. They're just that good there at River Region Contracting. Again, that's Todd Clark and River Region Contracting. They're not associated with any other roofing company here in the area. Call them today at 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you. 272-9228. If you want to get in after we hit this top of the hour break, y'all stay tuned.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. European Union leaders trumpeting their endorsement of a plan to free up hundreds of billions of euros to inject into their defense budgets. It was agreed late Thursday. That's after the Trump administration warned Europe to look after its own security. North Carolina Republicans who are resolved to promote President Donald Trump's agenda want to compel the new Democratic governor of that state to aid the president's immigration policy. First, it was Fort Bragg to honor a Confederate general. Then it was Fort Liberty. Now the North Carolina Army installation will officially be Fort Bragg again, only this time to honor a World War II paratrooper and Silver Star recipient from Maine, Private First Class Roland L. Bragg. On Wall Street, the Dow ahead 40 points, the NASDAQ losing 10. This is SRN News.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. As executive director of Turning Point USA, a national radio host, podcaster, husband, and father of two, my schedule is about as crazy as it can possibly get. 2 years ago, I made the decision to take control of my health, and I chose PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition because I needed a plan that fit my hectic lifestyle. I travel a lot, and my schedule changes every week, so I need something simple. They customized a plan for my body and my schedule, and I quickly lost 30 pounds. Now I have the energy and focus to get through my busy day. PhD will help you too. They won't let you fail. Just give them a call, schedule your weight loss consultation, and see if their program is right for you. Call 855-696-2020. That's 855-696-2020. The first 11 callers who mention the word healthy will get 2 weeks added to their weight loss package. Call 855-696-2020 and mention the word healthy, or visit them at myphdweightloss.com. That is myphdweightloss.com. It worked for me, and it can work for you. Myphdweightloss.com.
Rich Thomas Weather, brought to you by Clark Heating, Air, and Plumbing.
Hey, this is Robbie Clark. Spring is almost here. Stay cool with a spring tune-up with Clark Heating, Air, and Plumbing. Don't wait. Schedule today. Give us a call at 334-277-2125. Alabama certification number 09098.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Oh, hi, everybody. Be flexible with your weekend plans. It's not going to rain all the time, but there's going to be rain around both Saturday night, and Sunday. Today is dry, though, with a sun and cloud mix. Not as cool, high in the low 70s. Dry through the evening hours tonight. Maybe some isolated showers overnight, low 56. Tomorrow's high up to about 76. Risk of scattered showers picking up in the afternoon hours, and showers and storms become likely Saturday night. Could be some leftover showers even on Sunday. And Sunday's a little cooler with a high in the mid-60s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, here's today's top stories. The Alabama Senate approved SB 178, also known as the Speedy Trial Act, on Thursday. The bill, drafted by Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall's office, intends to expedite trials for violent criminals, reduce court backlogs, and provide swift justice for victims. The legislation now moves to the full Alabama House for a vote. Sunday marks the 60th anniversary of the historic Selma to Montgomery March, a pivotal event in the civil rights movement. Leaders from across the nation will gather in Selma for the annual Bridge Crossing Jubilee to commemorate the event, which played a crucial role in the passage of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Montgomery police have identified the victim of the city's 9th homicide of 2025. Police responded to the 2200 block of East 3rd Street Wednesday morning, where an adult male was pronounced dead from a gunshot wound. On Thursday, investigators identified the victim as 31-year-old Michael Ligon. An investigation is ongoing. No further details have been released. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Hello, I'm Mr. Ben. If your vehicle has seen better days, fear not, help is on the way. Mr. Ben's Auto Spa Express has added a professional detail shop. Specialized techniques and products are used to get your vehicle back to showroom shape. Hand washing, waxing, stain removal, odor removal, shampooing, minor scratch removal, and more. Mr. Ben's Auto Spa Express, next to Fraser Church on the Atlanta Highway. Come by for a free estimate. Look like you've been to Mr. Ben.
Adams Drugs has been committed to the healthcare of the people of the River Region for over 62 years. We value the trust each customer has in our pharmacists, techs, and entire staff. If you have not experienced the difference of Adams Drugs and are not satisfied with the customer service that you get in the big box stores, we invite you to visit any of our locations and see how committed we are to your satisfaction. Adams Drugs offers a variety of services that you will not find in all pharmacies in the River Region. Personalized compounding, area-wide delivery, wellness screenings, immunizations, medication consultations, and specialized packaging, just to name a few. Visit us at our website, adamsdrugs.net, and find the location nearest you. Adams Drugs has 12 convenient locations to serve you. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Adams Drugs is your local Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. 272-9228. If you want to get it on the program, that's 334-272-9228. We weren't able to get in touch with Austin Barenko, and I think that's because he's busy, and that's always a good thing.
Probably so.
Well, and a lot of economic news breaking this morning with the jobs numbers, and we'll get into some of the reaction and clips, at least what the Trump administration is saying about it. And
right.
I mean, based on past conversations I've recently had with Austin, as well as Brent McDonald when I was filling in for Greg earlier in the week, I think there is going to be some pain before gain.
Oh, yeah.
So we will see where things go in that regard. But the beauty of Invested Advisors is it's not just about investments.
Right.
That can be a big part of a strategy, a long-term planning for your financial future. That's a part of it. But really, when you work with Invested Advisors, whether you're looking to preserve that wealth in your estate, or you're running a nonprofit or an endowment, or maybe you just inherited a bunch of money, or maybe you're realizing I want to make sure my end-of-life affairs are all in order. Yeah. Invested Advisors can help you with all of that and more, and they have this multidisciplinary, multi-skilled team that really just gets to know you. It all begins with a conversation. That number, 387-0094. That's 387-0094. Again, if you're looking for true experts that can help you plan your long-term financial future, and this is every aspect of your finances you might imagine, that's Invista Advisors. Be sure to tell them when you call them up at 387-0094 that, hey, the Joey Clark guy on the radio sent me. So, did you see that the Mechazilla caught the rocket booster again?
Yeah, that was so cool.
It's so awesome.
That was really cool. Again, something I didn't think I would see in my lifetime, only in movies.
Yeah, it's like we're living in a sci-fi movie in many ways. Of course, there are others saying, but the Starship had a rapid disassembly, unscheduled disassembly, or it blew up. Like, yeah. And we'll get to that in a sec. But first, let's just see this feat. Like, and who else can do this? Who else has ever done it? I can't imagine.
No one that I can think of, no.
Once again, we're going to ignite first the Center 13 engines. We should see that coming up here momentarily.
Engines in startup.
This is going to come down to three engines as the booster slows down for its landing.
Man, it's coming in pretty cattywampus. Yeah, levels out right at the right time. And you can see the arms moving at the same time as well.
Incredible sight to see the super heavy booster gliding down into the chopstick arms once again.
Wow.
Stuck the landing.
Wow.
That does not get old.
It doesn't. And again, it looks like something I'm seeing in a movie. It's hard for my mind to process this is actually happening.
Well, and it's also like, I just want to keep sending you and Pamela a bunch of videos. It's like, the whole idea that we didn't get to the moon, let alone we're not doing all these like probes that go into deep space and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the reason that conspiracy falls apart is too many people would have to be lying about it. Way too many people will have to be lying about it.
Okay.
I'm just saying that, like, it doesn't hold up in the sense of, like, is it literally the Truman Show?
How many people know that COVID was a lie?
A good bit of people, actually.
They were all labeled conspiracy theorists, and the government knows best.
Sure.
Well, I'm saying I can go either way. At the end of the day, we got Tang and we got Velcro. Hey, good deal. Glad we went to the moon. I told Greg that the other day. It made him so mad.
I know.
I'm just kidding. I was like, I'm kidding, buddy. I love you, man. I love you.
Yeah, no, and when you see these things being done, like catching this booster, it's amazing. Then you see, of course, there was a rapid unscheduled disassembly, or the Starship itself blew up in the sky over the Bahamas, I believe.
Those kind of things I understand are going to happen.
Yes, they are going to happen.
Yeah.
And so that's 4 Starship explosions. This one guy who's a Democratic Party chair named Chris Jackson on X says, if you're keeping count, that's 4 Starship explosions out of 8 attempts, an impressive failure rate. Elon's philosophy seems to be the same for everything. Blow it up, waste billions, and call it innovation.
How much did it cost you?
A dummy.
How much did it cost the United States government for that to have gone south?
And it really is like, look at how many spacecraft has NASA lost? 42.
Let me put this
17 astronauts.
How many of them astronauts we have stranded in space right now?
Right.
And who's going to go save them?
And it's hard to know about the DOD, but it's something like 550 spacecraft.
Well, at least.
And SpaceX has lost 9 spacecraft out of 477 launches. Starship, this one that's had the 4 blowups, it's purposely experimental. They're testing the limits of things on purpose.
Right.
This is sort of baked into the cake. This is, by the way, how you do innovate. You actually take risks. As opposed to things just must always be perfect and instantly happen exactly how I want it to happen, even though I don't really know what I want. That changes from day to day. And it's just like, oh my God. And that's why politics is such a lie. Local, state, national, it's such a lie.
Agreed.
That they can give you everything you ever wanted, even though you don't know exactly what you want. You just want it to be better or fair or whatever it is.
Right.
It's going to be baked into the cake. But when you look at, in particular, the Falcon 9 success, it's immense. And the amount of money it has saved people compared to what NASA was doing, the capabilities it's also given, I think it's pretty awesome. That's it.
You're going to break some stuff. That just happened.
Right. And plus, actually catching the rocket booster, well, that's something, again, that I will never get tired of seeing. Pretty cool stuff. And, for all the Elon Musk hate out there, there's a lot of Elon Musk love as well. I mean, and it's always good to get it straight from, well, I think this guy might be the best, other than Trump, the best performer in politics.
Mm-hmm.
The theater of it all. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yeah.
Most of the publicity has been on the spending cuts. And look, I'm all for them. I think Elon Musk is a rock star. The tofu crowd is mad, but when you trim fat, pigs squeal. That's just the way the world works. That's the law of nature.
Indeed it is. And I guess
he's been on fire.
I just got to get used to the squealing. Sometimes I'm like, why are you even? We didn't even stick you. Like, what is? No, you're just squealing to squeal.
How guilty they are, Joey.
Right. We haven't even stuck you yet, and you're squealing over there. Give me a break. But yesterday, the president established the United States Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. And speaking of those who squeal, I believe Rachel Maddow on MSNBC compared it to buying a stockpile of Beanie Babies. Why do you people have to suck on everything? Goodness gracious. But on March the 7th, 2025, President Donald Trump signed an executive order to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve aimed at creating a national stockpile of Bitcoin. This move, described as fulfilling a campaign promise, uses Bitcoin previously seized in legal forfeiture proceedings to avoid additional taxpayer costs. Digital Fort Knox, intending to prevent losses from early sales of seized Bitcoin. They sold many Bitcoin.
Right.
The amount of Bitcoin they sold, just because, what's this worth, is about $17 billion.
See?
Yeah, so dumb for y'all to sell it in that way. Real dumb.
Wow.
Today there's a, cryptocurrency summit ongoing. I think they're actually meeting this afternoon.
Okay.
And we will see what comes of that. But I really do appreciate that we're actually looking into these new technologies, whether you're talking about reusable rockets or maybe a digital future in the economy. Here's this Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, kind of explaining this morning on CNBC.
Okay, Bitcoin, the reserve. Supposedly there was disappointment that we're not going to be buying Bitcoin outright using taxpayer dollars. But if we can do it in a revenue neutral way, we would. Number one, were you a proponent for the reserve? And two, is there a way to buy Bitcoin, not just acquire it through, I don't know, however we've gotten these $17 billion worth at this point.
Yeah, so Joe, I am a big proponent of the U.S. taking the worldwide lead in crypto. I think we have to bring it onshore and they use our best practices and regulation. I think that the Bitcoin reserve, before you can accumulate it, you have to stop selling it. So what we have now is from a seized asset pool, and I wasn't there when it happened, but I believe what happened was about 500 million of Bitcoin was seized, half of it was sold, and what we have now that, say it's over 10 billion, 10, 12 billion, that's all through appreciation. So the first thing to do is to stop the selling. So we are going to, after the victims are paid and all of that, any seized assets will go into this reserve, and then we'll see what the way forward is for more acquisitions for the reserves. And we're starting with Bitcoin, but it's an overall crypto reserve.
Interesting. Now, I'm more saying I think a lot of these other cryptos need to be treated like securities. They have companies that are issuing them. They could very much solve an important problem. There are these things called stable coins, to where you could essentially have a digital dollar and be dominant in the virtual world through that system. Other certain ones might be great to raise money, raise capital, but you're not big enough to raise capital with the big boys, but this is a different alternative to actually create capital. And if it's emanating from the United States, then this also gives us more ability to project private investment power across the world. I think it's kind of a win-win-win across the board. And I think the long-term prospect of Bitcoin, which I believe Texas just passed a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Yeah, a good bit of chunk of change. Good to see Texas moving towards that. But here is the guy who is the AI and crypto czar, David Sachs.
Yes.
Here's what he had to say this morning on Bloomberg in reaction to all this.
Remind the American public and investors why you need a Bitcoin reserve at all.
Well, good to be here. I mean, the reason why we need a Bitcoin reserve is that the federal government already owns some. In fact, it obtained around 400,000 Bitcoin over the past decade through criminal and civil forfeitures and seizures. And so the government has to have a strategy for how it deals with this. In the past, the strategy has been simply to sell it, in an ad hoc way, almost willy-nilly. And that cost American taxpayers something like $17 billion in lost value. So we want to have a long-term strategy to maximize the value of these holdings. And we've decided that Bitcoin is scarce, it's valuable, and that it's strategic for the United States to hold on to this as a long-term reserve asset. So that's the plan with the 200,000 Bitcoin that we believe are in the possession of the federal government. I say we believe because no one really knows for sure because we never had a proper audit. So that's one of the first things that this executive order provides, that we're going to do a full government-wide audit to find out what digital assets we actually have so they can be safeguarded and moved into a strategy that maximizes their long-term value.
So as all that's going on, we also had economic numbers come out today. And I guess the headlines are jobs creation lower than expected.
Right.
But there was a already big influx in manufacturing jobs. And where you saw most of the actual job losses, it was something like 84,000 foreign-born workers. And you actually saw a gain with native-born Americans. And so the Trump team, you could call it spin, you could call it their narrative, you call it whatever you want. That's the nature of the political game. Their point of view is this report actually shows that our strategy is working exactly how we wanted it to work. Like, the numbers bear out exactly what we were trying to do, and very early. It's sort of a glimpse at the golden age, is I think the way they have put it. To hear it in their own words, here is Kevin Hassett. He's the National Economic Director for the Trump administration. Let's listen in together.
I think one of the things that you see, if you look at it, is exactly the objectives of the Trump administration, and the fact that even though we got a lot of work to do, we got to pass the tax cuts and get this deregulation train rolling, is that we're going to be reducing government employment and reducing government spending and increasing manufacturing employment. And as you can see in the jobs report today, you're already seeing a pivot in that direction. That's a huge one. And so last year, 111,000 manufacturing jobs were destroyed by the Biden administration's policies. And in this month alone, in February, we got 10,000 manufacturing jobs and 9,000 auto jobs. And as you know, those auto jobs are, here, they're going to be paid well, and they're here for a good long time. And that's really just sort of a down payment on the Trump policies that are going to skyrocket into a golden age as soon as we get the tax cuts passed.
And so we'll see. But I really do think this is going to play out where there will be some pain. If so much of the federal or of workers, people got employment by being hired by the government.
Right.
There is going to be, if you're cutting government, some pain in the short term. But the idea is those folks that lose, say, government jobs will need to go into the private sector, and they will be engaging in much more productive activity while you can still provide essential government services. We'll see. I mean, in the background of all this, though, Craig and I were talking just a second off air. There is this ongoing thing, and I've been playing a part of it. I posted on Facebook and X. My favorite of the J.D. Vance memes is emo J.D. Vance. I really find it hysterical.
That was quite funny.
It's become this cottage industry of fat J.D. Vance. It's one after the other after the other. I mean, I'm wondering how much you've seen this, Eddie.
I've seen a lot of it, but the one you showed me this morning, the emo, that one makes me want to go find more. To be quite
Mom,
honest.
don't you see? It wasn't just a phase, and now I'm VP. If only you had believed in me, it never would have had to be.
Yes.
If only,
Mom.
Mom.
It just cracks me up because looking at him, sorry, but I can see a lot of friends I grew up with in that man's face. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So long and good night.
Yeah.
No, and I bet if I just type in J.D. Vance memes, I'm going to get
Oh, you're going to blow up the computer.
Yeah, maybe the stream will just drop. Everything will stop working. And, please, come on. Okay, I'm going to type in J.D. Vance Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
This one, I think, was State of the Union. And, no, it's not immediately coming
There was
up.
another one of Democrats' daddy showing JD and the look that he was giving the Democrats during the speech, which was funny.
Yeah.
I enjoy the guy.
And I don't know what it is about JD, but it's got so many of these things going on. Yeah, okay, the fat face JD is a very popular one.
Yes, that's
my favorite. That's my favorite.
Yeah, where he's like a baby.
Yeah.
And then yeah. Oh, that one's
that
a little
one.
freaky.
That's it.
Okay, that's nuts. And then here's just like a whole montage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like all sorts of different JD Vances. So that's become the trend of just going into AI and making new photos out of JD Vance. I don't know if we're going to survive this new digital age, but we'll see. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, it's Cranky.
Hey, Cranky.
To follow up with you on what you just said, I've been wondering myself, how do we verify, under the rules of evidence, what's real and what's not real? What is AI? What evidence has been created to convict someone? That's going to be a real tough one.
Yeah.
When you saw the first lady doing that whole summit about deepfakes.
Deepfake,
Now, this
that's a
was
big
in
thing,
particular focused on deepfake revenge porn, as they call it. Pretty disgusting behavior. And yeah, I think even though I'm all for freedom of expression, even heinous forms of it, if you are impersonating, essentially defrauding people with this technology, that needs to stop right now.
You got to be holding them accountable.
Oh, listen, it cuts the other way. I mean, look how slimy they were and ready to put Donald Trump away. Who knows what the FBI has already done to put people in prison using faked up video and audio. It's really kind of scary, because if they're willing to do that to him, that's what the dumb thugs don't understand. If they're willing to gang up on unarguably the most important man and most powerful man in America, what the hell do you think they're going to use to screw you or me over? They don't even have to lift a finger to squash us and ruin our lives forever. But the real reason I called, you were saying earlier that, you couldn't protect a lie that long about going to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And you may be right about that. And I'm not trying to pick apart what you said, but the thing of it is, when did we do that? We did that 50 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, 50 years ago. if we did this 50 years ago with the technology that we didn't have back then versus what the technology we have now, how come you don't think Elon Musk hadn't been back to the moon multiple times? You know, I don't think we ever went. And, you know, Barron talked about that quite a bit. And I'm inclined to agree that we didn't go. It was all a hoax. It was all a fake. And, you know, otherwise, how come Elon hadn't been back? Because, you know, he would have gone back, because that would have helped him with his, you know, the rest of his experiments to go beyond the moon. But anyhow, I appreciate all the job all of y'all are doing. Y'all are the Alabama level of what Donald Trump is doing. Y'all are just pissing off all the right people, and I love you.
Well, thank you, Craig.
Appreciate it, Craig.
Take it easy, brother. Have a good weekend.
272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. Actually, SpaceX is going to play a crucial role in the Artemis program, working with NASA going forward. And you've had two, say, recent private moon landing updates. Now, you can go, well, that's not real, that's AI or whatever. And that is going to be a problem going forward, convincing anybody.
It really is.
But,
I mean, today's day and time, yeah, it's going to be tough.
Well, it's also like, follow the money. Seriously. Like, these private companies saying, we just put a lander on the moon. Like, are they spending all this money just to perpetuate a hoax?
I'm sure there's profit in
No,
that.
I'd imagine they're spending all this money because they think there's a massive upside in terms of minerals and all sorts of other things you can get from this, essentially harvesting the moon, other things. They think there's massive upside to this. This is why they get the investment. And so, yeah, there's a lot of money involved with this. There are a lot of very intelligent folks that are involved in these things too. So, I mean, you would have to talk about the greatest compartmentalized hoax ever done, ever pulled off. And, you know, that's fine. I let people talk and share their opinions. I mean, Craig, are you on team we didn't go to the moon?
I am undecided. It is quite compelling, the conspiracy theorists, but I mean, the simplest explanation is that we did. So,
well, and here's an NBC News story, because you can trust them, right?
Totally.
Came out 3 hours ago.
Oh.
Here's the headline. I think you're going to like this one, Eddie.
Okay.
Moon mission ends with private spacecraft on its side.
Oh, Lord.
Unable to recharge batteries. The company Intuitive Machines was the second this week to attempt to put a privately built robotic lander on the lunar surface. But it did not stick its landing on the moon Thursday, winding up on its side about 250 meters from its intended location. It was the second time in less than a week that a private spacecraft has reached the lunar surface. But unlike the first landing, in which a robotic lander built by the company Firefly Aerospace touched down successfully, the outcome of Thursday's landing put an end to an Intuitive Machines mission.
How can you take that kind of money? I mean, literally, you can buy a toy remote control car nowadays and throw it out a window, and it always will land or rotate somehow so you can drive it again. How can you not take that same technology and put it in something like that? Just doesn't seem to be that hard.
The batteries that powered the lander, dubbed Athena, were depleted, the company said in a statement Friday. Here's a quote of the statement. Quote, with the direction of the sun, the orientation of the solar panels, and extreme cold temperatures in the crater, Intuitive Machines does not expect Athena to recharge. The mission has concluded. And you thought you were having a bad day.
You remember, this is probably before your time, you're probably too young, but years ago, there was a spacecraft that hit, I don't remember if it hit the moon or it hit a planet because they didn't convert it to mileage, I think. They were taking it from a metric system and didn't make the conversion, so it just slammed into the planet.
By the way, this was the second moonshot for Intuitive Machines, which made history in February 2024 by becoming the first company to land a commercially built spacecraft on the moon. However, that lander, called Odysseus, similarly wound up tipping over on its side after landing.
Just make a lander completely round like a basketball.
Can we get something that doesn't tip over?
Just make it a basketball. It's completely round. You control it from the inside. It tipped over.
See, and I don't want to root for failure. It's just when failure happens, you need to laugh at it. You need to go, dadgum, guys.
Well, I'm not the guy writing the check, so yeah, I can laugh at this one.
But nonetheless, the flight was considered a success. It marked the first time an American spacecraft had touched down on the moon in more than 50 years since the Apollo 17 mission in 1972.
Okay. I ain't mad.
Sometimes I wonder what I'm even doing. Line 3, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hey, it's me again.
Oh, hi, Audrey. Or Aubrey.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Still got my crazy son here. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so
Good for you.
Love it.
That's awesome.
Absolutely love it.
Love it.
he's very sweet. He's bringing me we make what we call a rainbow plate, which is where we have like a color for every food. So we have like an orange part, a blue part, like blueberry.
That's awesome. My son's my wife is a stay-at-home mom, and my kids always give me crap whenever I have to leave the house. So we've got them convinced. Every time we leave, it's like I have to go make money to buy you snacks. And so every time I'm gone, my kids ask my wife, like, "Is Dad gone making money?" And so yeah, so
I can get them snacks.
Oh yeah. So they're still sad when I leave, but they understand that like me leaving gets them snacks.
Snack time.
So good for you, Aubrey.
Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you. Yeah, they are. I have two sons, almost 5-year-old, and Finn here is almost 3.
Nice.
So
Hey, good for you.
That's
beautiful.
We're in the WWE season in our household.
I love it.
I was just telling the guys my TV has been busted for like a year, and we're getting the new one in the mail today because my son was watching Brave, that Pixar movie with the bear, and he had a toy sword and he was trying to fight the bear and he smashed the TV. So I was half really, really angry and half really, really proud. So yeah, the little boys are great, but they are a bit destructive.
Yes, they are absolutely insane. So I had asked one of your longtime commenters / listeners if they wouldn't mind me calling again, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's Joe. I heard you the other day."
Well, I'd love for you to call.
Oh, no, and I thought it was good kind of thinking things through and arguing them out. I meant to send you some videos from some of the questions you had.
Yeah, and I need to sit down and do research on it. Life is hectic and crazy right now. We're renovating our forever home, and it's like,
oh joy. Oof.
So time goes by really fast. But I called you guys back when you were just a few minutes ago talking about the economy. So I didn't know if you maybe wanted to talk about that, or
Yeah, we can't go as long as last time, but what are your thoughts?
yeah. So I actually had this. I think my friends probably thought was a conspiracy theory before the election when Trump was campaigning on tariffs, that I think he's going to try to intentionally crash the stock market using tariffs as a lever, because like his idea of let's put import tariffs, which is just taxes on any imports coming from Mexico, Canada, and China, which it's like it makes political sense that he wants to do it with China, but it doesn't really make political sense that he wants to do it with Canada and Mexico. But the thing that I realized is they are our largest, we import largely from them. So I was like, okay, well, like, why would he do this? Because an import tariff is a tax that the U.S. government puts on goods that are being imported by our own companies. So if I'm Walmart and I'm importing a bunch of stuff from China, I have to send a roster quarterly to the U.S. government to say, like, here were my business transactions. And on it, it'll say, we spent $500 million on imports from China. And so an import tax is when the government says, when you submit that roster, it means that we are going to put a tax on that money that Walmart is going to have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So what ends up happening is when Walmart gets this import tax, this tariff, they are, honey, these are not yours. I'm sorry. When Walmart gets that tax, they are going to they're going to pass that price on to the consumer. So they'll just raise the cost of those goods that they're selling that they imported from China, and then it causes inflation for us. This is exactly what happened with the Smoot-Hawley tariffs in 1929/1930 at the beginning of the Great Depression. And so with import tax, it's us, the importers, that are going to be, it's going to cause inflation. And I was like, that doesn't really make any sense. Like, he wanted, hey, Finny, no. Finny, Ben. I like a roller coaster carrot game where we're working on phonics sounds, whatever. Anyway, so
to speed this up a little bit, why do you think he wants to crash the stock market?
Because when the stock market crashes, billionaires can buy up stocks for super cheap because they've been devalued. But it's only the richest of the richest that can afford to do it because they play the long-term game. So if you're just a low-level or intermediary-level investor in the stock market, like my wife and I are, we're not going to benefit from this at all. Like, our stocks are just going to depreciate, and we don't have extra, millions, if not billions of dollars to just buy up more stuff. So when the stock market crashes, we won't be gaining any interest on our stocks until the stock market goes back up again. But for billionaires, what it means is that the value of, when the stock market crashes, stocks become cheap. And so...
Well, and you have other people who are short selling beforehand too. And
yeah.
I think what Trump's doing, for instance, the thing you talked about, how it's immediately passed on to the consumer, that's one possible outcome. In particular with the Chinese, what you've actually seen in many of these instances is the Chinese company eats that cost because they want to stay competitive and keep selling into the U.S. market. So essentially that's the American company purchasing from China abroad essentially just ups their price they put on the Chinese, and in order to cover that tax, and the Chinese companies will eat it because they're so reliant on exports. I think the situation with Mexico and Canada is a little different. I think he's more using it as a political cudgel. You already saw the pause on a lot of that immediately. And then April 2nd with the reciprocal tariffs, I think the idea is y'all are taxing us too much to actually gain entry into y'all's markets. I think the reciprocal tariff is to bring down, generally speaking, tariffs. It's sort of calling people's bluff, whether it's Canada, Mexico, the Europeans, India, anybody else.
And just to say something strategically about a plan to crash the stock market, that would be ridiculously short-sighted, not just for Trump, but for the billionaires that you're talking about, because those billionaires aren't billionaires because they have $1 billion in liquidity. They're billionaires because their net worth is tied up in that self-same stock market. So they wouldn't have as much to play around with in order to make more money if the stock market was crashed, because they would lose a significant amount of their net worth if the stock market were to crash.
Well, that's not true, though, because when we look at historical stock market crashes, that consolidation is exactly what happened.
What are you talking about, 2009?
They don't have, so like...
Or are you talking about the 30s, like you were before? Which crash are you referring to?
Like, no, globally, like not the United States, but like even in other, markets, what happens is like the consolidation that happens during a crash is very well known. But the thing that is important here is, like, I just want to point out the idea that Walmart can pass this tax that it has to pay to the U.S. government onto China when it buys stuff. That doesn't make any sense. How are they going to make China pay that tax when they're just buying the products from China?
Because they make up the difference in the initial cost that they give
they
to
charge
China.
the Chinese. And the Chinese are so desperate to export their way out of their economic problems, they'll eat that cost.
You mean as in, like, China will sell their goods for less? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
But see, what's happening is, like, in response to Trump doing these, like, tariffs and then pausing the tariffs and then doing them again and then pausing them again. Like, China is actually just turning to its other Asian markets to sell. So China is now
not in any possible way that could make up for the income that they make from selling to the United States. That's just the fact. There's a reason. The reason why that Trump is threatening the tariffs the way that he does is because it threatens the economic stability of these countries that rely on the United States for their income.
Consumer market in particular.
Correct. You're correct.
So then why is he committing to them? Why is it that he said, we're going to do it, and then he says, actually, we're going to pause it. And then he says, we're going to do it, and then within 24 hours, he says, okay, actually, we're going to pause it.
Because he became a billionaire from negotiating, and he thinks he knows what he's doing. I don't necessarily even think that he's right, but that is the strategy.
Well, and I'm running out of time in this segment, Aubrey. But like, we can keep this conversation going, I'm certain, for months. We will be having it for months. My expectation long term is you won't see an absolute crash in the markets. You will see a pretty sizable correction, especially as they try to cut, say, government jobs and bring in more private investment and essentially transition the economy to more private. And the numbers, I'll play a clip a little later. It's a little astounding how much, I think it's something like state, federal, and local made up about 40% of the workforce in job growth recently. But I think after that sort of pain and correction, you're going to see a lot of growth. And just politically speaking, they're going to need that growth, let's say by July 4th, 2026, to have the heck of a birthday bash. If they don't have that, the midterms are clearly going to swing the Democrats' way.
Yeah. Man, I wish we could talk ages.
And real quick, I would recommend on the whole Ukraine-Russia war thing, the recent speech, I don't agree with this guy on everything, but he is smart, and he's literally been in the room for decades. Professor Jeffrey Sachs, just type in Jeffrey Sachs, EU Parliament. It's about an hour and a half long speech. Another one that's a little shorter and very engaging. Piers Morgan hosted Scott Horton, who's a anti-war libertarian, just wrote a book called Provoked, giving the reasons in history for why Russia was provoked in this war. And the counterpart is General Wesley Clark, who's disagreeing with Horton. But the exchange is very enlightening to where really Clark and Horton aren't arguing over the basic facts Horton presents and why Russia's provoked. They're more arguing over the strategy going ahead. I would just suggest those two. They're very interesting arguments, very fact-based, and it gives more of my perspective on things. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, could I ask real quick what you think of the Five Eyes now pulling their intelligence sharing with the United States because they think that the U.S. government has been compromised by Russian assets?
I don't have much of a developed opinion on it. I see something like that and I go, I'm not in the room. I don't really know.
Okay, cool. Did you hear about Trump sending people to Ukraine to try to support the Yushchenko government to hold a rapid election to throw Zelensky out?
Yeah, I did see that.
Like, what are your thoughts on?
I think they need to hold an election. If Zelensky doesn't want to go to the peace table, the election needs to be held. I know there's in the Ukrainian constitution, if you're in a war and under martial law, you can't hold elections. And that's a pretty bad feature of a constitution.
Yes, and especially considering that the previous government was overthrown. So to not hold a democratic election while you're refusing to engage in ceasefire or peace talks, I think is pretty evident.
Ukraine did hold a legitimate election. It wasn't. Zelensky didn't get into power because because they overthrew the government.
Correct. They had an election after they overthrew the government.
Who overthrew what government?
The Maidan Revolution or the Maidan coup, depending on your perspective.
Yeah, well, they overthrew an election. They overthrew an election that was verified by the EU.
You mean like Poroshenko?
Yes.
What's his name?
Yes. I think I couldn't remember the pronunciation, but yeah, that his government, he won the election in Ukraine, and then you had the Maidan Revolution, and he had to kick rocks to Russia.
But hey, guys, ma'am, I'm out of time on this segment. I really do appreciate these calls, and let's keep having them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
272-9228. Good to have respectful debate on these things. I would recommend to everybody the speech Jeffrey Sachs gave, again, at the EU Parliament Again, I don't agree with the guy on everything. I'm sure you can find anything to quibble with. But the fact that he's in the room with these people, I played a clip of it yesterday where he was saying to Biden's national security advisor in December of 2021, Jake, Ukraine cannot be part of NATO. And Sullivan's like, yeah, I agree. Well, then, Jake, say it publicly or else you're going to have a war. It's like, no, I can't say it publicly. Wait, so you're going to have a war break out over something you don't even believe in? It's like, a war won't break out. And Sachs provides perspective going back all the way to 1991. It's quite a presentation. It's an amazing speech. I would recommend that. And again, that Scott Horton debate with General Wesley Clark on Piers Morgan show is amazing to watch.
Wild.
And the one thing is that punk skater kid anti-war libertarian had General Clark essentially agreeing, well, all your facts are correct.
Yeah.
My assessment of it is slightly different, but and that's what's really cool about it. It's like, no, we're getting facts on the table. Yeah. Then we can get into the nuance of how do you actually interpret it.
You know what's hilarious, and I just had this thought the other day. You know what the difference between a coup and a revolution? When we don't like the people, it's a coup. When we like them, it's a revolution.
Right. You could argue the Constitutional Convention was a bit of a coup.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Didn't follow the Articles of Convention at all.
Nobody disputes that, though. It's like, but when you actually start disputing that that both would lead to the overthrowing of a ruling government, then it really does become a semantics game. And to say, I'm sorry, but this line where you talk about how the Maidan Revolution was not overthrowing a democratically elected government, that is simply verifiably untrue.
Right.
Well, if you think it was good, by all means, but
we're way behind. Got to hit this break. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
The Tierce family has been your local Roto-Rooter service since 1964. Drain cleaning, plumbing repair, and those troublesome septic tanks, no problem. Technology has changed a bit in the last 54 years. Video inspections of lines to locate problems is available, as well as scheduling your appointment online. River Region residents have trusted Roto-Rooter for over half a century. You can too. Call today at 272-7130 or visit online at rotorooteralabama.com.
Call Roto-Rooter, that's the name, and legal troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by MPM Feed and Seed. It's time to get those gardens ready. From seeds to plants to fertilizer, MPM has what you need. Shop MPM Feed and Seed in Prattville, 1313 Highway 31 North. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays, 8 to 1.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. Be flexible with your weekend plans. It's not going to rain all the time, but there's going to be rain around both Saturday night, and Sunday. Today is dry, though, with a sun and cloud mix. Not as cool, high in the low 70s. Dry through the evening hours tonight. Maybe some isolated showers overnight, low 56. Tomorrow's high up to about 76. Risk of scattered showers picking up in the afternoon hours, and showers and storms become likely Saturday night. Could be some leftover showers even on Sunday. And Sunday's a little cooler with a high in the mid-60s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender. Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
Hi, this is Carl Schmidt, naturopath and owner of the Herb Shop. Listen every Saturday to Winning Wellness and learn from experts in different fields of science and technology how nutritional supplements can help you.
Listen to Winning Wellness every Saturday at 10 a.m. Are you happy with your IT support company? Do they resolve your company's computer issues quickly, or do they leave you down and frustrated? You need your computers working and problems resolved quickly and permanently. GTI is different. GTI has a high standard of affordably supporting and protecting businesses like yours since 1999. Call them now at 819-4650, 819-4650, or visit gtinow.com.
Since 1966, Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches has been more than just a place to stay. It's been a place to belong. For children facing hardships through no fault of their own, our ranches provide more than shelter. We offer a warm home, a loving family, and a future filled with hope. With open arms, we welcome these young hearts, giving them the love, structure, and guidance they need to heal, grow, and thrive in a warm Christian environment. Together, we can give Alabama's children the chance they deserve, a chance to dream, to succeed, and to feel truly cherished. Every donation stays within Alabama, directly impacting the lives of the children who need it most. Join us in making a difference. Visit alabamasheriffsyouthranches.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and download our app from your app store. We'd be honored to have you as a part of our mission to lift up Alabama's youth. And remember this, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Michael Cohen from Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Oh, we're surviving our Friday. Looking forward to the weekend. What's the score there today at Cohen's?
It's 28-3.
Woo!
It's been good. Got all of our techs out there running calls and trying to get everybody's units working. And the delivery crew's been wide open. Michael Jackson's been busy. Got one of your listeners in, looking for a commercial washer and dryer.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's very good. So, yeah, it's been a good Friday, and looks like the weather, I mean, it's just all around a good day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, things seem to be going in the right direction. And, well, I love hearing that folks are stopping by. And, folks, if you're looking for great electronics, especially a brand new TV or sound system audio solutions, or if you're looking on the appliance side, new washer dryer units. Of course, if you want to upgrade that kitchen of yours, maybe as we're kind of getting closer to warmer weather, you're looking for a brand new grill to enjoy outside. They got all of that there and more at Cohen's. You can always go to thinkcohens.com, or I recommend stop by the Boulevard, 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. They're open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And be sure to find Michael and be like, hey, I heard you on that show, and Eddie was there that day.
That's right. I mean, Eddie's been a lot more consistent lately. We got to put a gold star by his name.
I've been throwing some guilt my way lately.
Extra cookies for 2 pies.
Yeah, it's only 3 hours a day, right?
Yeah, right in the middle of the day.
Only 3 hours,
Yeah,
right.
That's it.
You don't even have to get up early.
Right. Right.
All right, y'all come see us. Let us help you make the right choice for whatever your needs are.
Appreciate it, Michael. Have a
Thank
good
you,
weekend.
Michael. See you, brother.
Let's, I think we got time. Let's go to Dick Brubaker. Hey, how are you, sir?
Great. First of all, for your listeners on 85 North, there's a wreck at the Middling exit. So if you're heading that way, you're going to get stacked up. You don't want to go around.
All right.
Yeah, that car is off on the off side of the road. Police are there. It's kind of a mess. Hey, look, all this peace talks with the Russians between the Ukrainians.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you sit there and you think about it. You know, in 2024, we signed a security agreement with the Ukrainians saying that we would work toward a just peace. I'm trying to think what that would look like, because the Ukrainians already traded land for peace once with Crimea. And I'm glad I don't have to negotiate that thing.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Well,
I mean, what do you think it would look like? I mean, can you really ask the Ukrainians, you've already given up Crimea, to give up the western half of their country so Russia can have a land bridge?
Well, they don't really have an option. They're losing badly.
Well, I don't know whether they do or not. They certainly don't have any option if they've got to do it all by themselves. But if that's going to be the new U.S. policy, if let's put it this way, Kuwait didn't have any options against Iraq.
True. I think.
And I mean, if that's the kind of world order you want, I mean, it'll be okay for us. I don't think the Canadians are the Mexicans may. There's plenty of invasion going on from our southern border, but it's not military.
Well, and I'm trying to think how I'd answer your initial question. What does this look like? And my mind is referencing 2-hour-long conversations. I'll put it this way. I think partly it's 7 days after Putin initially invades in 2022, there are peace negotiations in Istanbul through Turkish mediators. And the key part of that was essentially neutrality for Ukraine. But if you go back all the way into 2014, before the government's overthrown in Kiev, the big dispute is over trade relations. In particular, are you going to pick the EU or are you going to pick Russia? And it gets pretty complicated by, what are the benefits and the downsides of either direction. I think what Trump and team are going to try to do is create that neutral security agreement. They're going to try to address the underlying economic concerns of all the parties involved. And then the big sort of change is they're going to try to reset the whole world order chessboard in the sense of we've been living in this world of NATO expanding eastward for 20, 30 years now, with the Russians nervous, not happy about it. The Russians nervous about it to the point of fighting a war over it. We need to get rid of that dynamic completely, 100%. And what does that actually look like? I don't know. No, not get rid of NATO. Get rid of the dynamic of NATO continuing to move towards Russia.
I say get rid of NATO, but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't think NATO's going away.
No, well, if it does, you have got, first of all of the stuff going on in the Middle East. Most commentators on both sides of the aisle think that it all got started when we ran out on our Afghan allies. When we fled Afghanistan. And if you're a country like India trying to decide who you want to align yourselves with, who would align themselves with the U.S.? I mean, we have a terrible record, especially in the last 20 years, of running out on people we make promises to. And we signed a security agreement in 2024 with Ukraine. And I don't know what the solution is, but if you give Russia their land bridge, I don't see any reason why they won't come back for more. I mean, that is Putin's kind of the way that he operates.
And since when, though? I understand that. I understand I understand the desire not to want to let Putin win, but why is that in Ukraine for Ukrainians? Why is that our business?
Why is it your business? Well, I guess it depends on how much you believe history is a teacher. I mean, if you believe that aggressive dictators, Putin said repeatedly, his goal is to reestablish the old Soviet spheres of influence.
True, but that's not the same thing as reestablishing the Soviet Union. And why should why should the world, the global world, be afraid of someone who hasn't been able to overtake Ukraine in 2 years? How much of a threat is this person?
Well, a nuclear state, I would say that ultimately he's a very large threat.
So then why are we screwing with him right now? You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways to say he's such a threat that we need to stop him, and then say that he's not as much of he's not a threat enough that he can't take a little old Ukraine in 2.5 years, however long it's been. Which one is it? Is he a threat, or can he not take Ukraine?
I think he could take Ukraine if Ukraine wasn't being backed up by the West and by Europe.
Okay, so then that takes your nuclear argument out of the question because there's the red button.
The question is, wait a minute. The question, I think the only reason he hasn't used a tactical nuke in Ukraine is frankly, because of the Chinese. Do you remember about a year ago when the Chinese went public on what they told Putin about tactical nukes in Ukraine? I mean, it was on the table as far as he was. Well, Google it, you'll find it.
Well, I'm running out of. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just saying that however this thing ends up, if we end up historically, dictators who are not stopped just keep going until they are. And maybe you don't think Putin could pull it off. But if he tries it with Estonia, we are involved whether we want to be or not.
Well, he goes into a NATO country, that's for certain. I seriously, like, if more of my perspective, have you seen the Jeffrey Sachs EU Parliament speech? It's about an hour and a half.
No, I saw the Wesley Clark Oxford Union speech, but I didn't hear Sachs.
Yeah, that Jeffrey Sachs EU Parliament is just great for a let's say a different perspective than most American outlets. And then it's Wesley Clark and Scott Horton, just those two debating on Piers Morgan's show. It is fascinatingly good, to where, again, you have this skateboarding punk anti-war libertarian laying out these facts, and General Clark's like, well, I was in the room. He's right about the facts. I just disagree with the assessment of them. It's a very, very worthwhile discussion to watch.
Well, I will find it. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere.
Yep. Well, I appreciate
Anyway, thanks for taking the call, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Great show.
Well, we got to hit this break. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Russia targeted Ukraine's energy infrastructure in a large-scale missile and drone bombardment Thursday night. This came hours after Ukraine's leader signaled agreement for talks with the U.S. on ending the 3-year war. President Trump said he sent a letter to Iran's supreme leader to negotiate a nuclear deal. He told Fox Business News that he hopes an agreement can be reached, because if the U.S. has to take military action, it's going to be a, quote, terrible thing for Iran. The president says now is the time for negotiations. Tesla's empire in Texas growing beyond cars, the company building a massive new battery storage facility near Houston. That factory is expected to create around 1,500 jobs. The Dow up 312 points, the Nasdaq adding 154. This is SRN News.
You all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend. Must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas Weather. Well, hi, everybody. Be flexible with your weekend plans. It's not going to rain all the time, but there's going to be rain around both Saturday night, and Sunday. Today is dry, though, with a sun and cloud mix. Not as cool, high in the low 70s. Dry through the evening hours tonight. Maybe some isolated showers overnight, low 56. Tomorrow's high up to about 76. Risk of scattered showers picking up in the afternoon hours, and showers and storms become likely Saturday night. Could be some leftover showers even on Sunday. And Sunday's a little cooler with a high in the mid-60s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
CB&S Bank has digital banking solutions to help you keep up. Check balances, pay bills, and much more. Learn more at cbsbank.com. Charges and fees may apply from your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for information. Member FDIC.
1819 News.
The Alabama House had a late night of debate and then voting this past Thursday, with the results being that Governor Ivey's Safe Alabama package was passed, despite the attempts by Democrats to stop it. One bill in the package provides police immunity in claims of civil liability against that officer if he was performing his duties appropriately. Democratic State Representative Chris England argued that this bill will now make it more difficult to sue a law enforcement officer. Another public safety bill increases penalties for resisting arrest, and a third bill enhances penalties for impersonating a police officer. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Did you know that 70% of people experience a potentially traumatic event in their lifetime, and that 6 out of every 100 adults face PTSD every day? Help us bring hope to these survivors by signing up for your Alabama Distinctive PTSD Awareness license plate today. The great thing is you can sign up no matter when your current plate renews, and the first year is complimentary. All you need is your VIN number on hand. Drive awareness, drive hope, and customize your plate today at atease.org. That's ATEASE.org.
The Mobile County Sheriff's Office has arrested an illegal alien with suspected ties to an international crime and terrorist organization. Orlando Rizzo Perez is wanted in the state of Virginia for drug trafficking and drug crimes. He's believed to be part of the MS-13 gang. The sheriffs of Mobile and Baldwin counties believe there are more MS-13 gang members in that area as well. President Trump recently declared MS-13 a terrorist organization. A Madison County woman is facing charges for the abuse of federal funds given to a community action partnership out of Huntsville. Megan Tillery is accused of sending $15,000 in Cash App payments to 2 different people who bribed her to do so. The community action partnership is given funds from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services in order to help low-income homeowners with their energy costs. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 special. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
We all want access to care and coverage we need to stay healthy, but Farm Bureau health plans aren't the answer. They are unregulated and unreliable when it comes to covering you and your family. If you have cancer or another pre-existing condition, well, you'd be out of luck. Alabama deserves better than empty promises. Call your state legislator now and tell them to vote no on Farm Bureau health plans. Visit fightcancer.org/Alabama. It's time for real health insurance.
Paid for by the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back.
There they come.
There are the bells. You just gotta wait for the bells. You can't come out the gate playing the bells. Welcome into the final hour. I do this just whenever Eddie's
enjoy it.
A little quiet. No, but I appreciate the calls. Dick Brubaker and Aubrey, I think.
Aubrey's great.
Yeah.
Appreciate the arguments and stuff, especially on these big things. And one thing I was trying to watch different angles like I do.
Yeah.
And I roped my grandfather in this, and I just look at him, and I'm watching of all people, Doug McGregor, who I'm like, I kind of like Doug McGregor. I don't think any of these folks are right about everything. I definitely have differences with Jeffrey Sachs. He has too much faith in the UN and international institutions, in my humble opinion. But I'm watching all these folks, and on this peace deal that Trump's trying to get done, I'm sitting there, I look at my grandfather and I go, why is everybody acting like they're in the frickin' room? All these commentators, all these pundits, like, well, this is what's gonna... You're not in the room. Like, you're not on the back channeling. Like, how do you know any of this? It's just pure speculation. And actually, I think that's the best sign that something might actually get done, that you just need the principals in the room to actually hash this out. We'll see if it works. Rubio's been hedging like crazy. But, yeah, it's more the commentary. And I'm like, it's one thing to talk about history and causes and whatnot. You can actually research that. You can bring people who were in the room on, and you can get insights that way. But when you're talking about something being done in real time at the highest levels of two governments that haven't even spoken to one another for months and years.
Right.
Yeah, maybe we should... And this is what J.D. Vance kept reiterating, Marco Rubio kept reiterating, Mike Waltz kept reiterating. We're not going to do this in public, guys. The reason you don't do it in public is because, well, everybody's going to start posturing then.
Right.
In that game, public posturing is very different than actually hashing out a peace.
Yep.
We'll see. But Trump yesterday made a comment. And by the way, Trump is now signaling more toughness on the Russians, mulling even greater sanctions and long-term tariffs to get Russia more...
Get them to the table.
Massage them a little more to get them to the table. But this is Trump yesterday in one of those Oval Office pressers where he's sitting at the desk. And, he says this.
When Zelensky inevitably comes back to the White House, what do you expect from him? And do you think you'll see him in a necktie?
Well, I think what's going to happen is Ukraine wants to make a deal because I don't think they have a choice. I also think that Russia wants to make a deal because in a different way that only I know. Only I know. They have no choice either.
And there's Trump winking to my exact point. I wonder what he means, like only I know. But that's a fascinating little thing to throw out there.
This childish mentality, and this is one of the many misfortunes of post-World War II is people have this childish idea of good guy versus bad guy and fair and right. Is it fair that Ukraine should have to make concessions after it was invaded? No. But it's losing. It's not fair that I have to give my wallet to someone when they point a gun at my face and say your money or your life. That's not fair, but it's the reality of the world.
Right.
Reality of that situation.
And I completely agree with Scott Horton and plenty of other commentators that believe that Ukraine definitely provoked this, especially after Zelensky's 2019
See, I don't think it was Ukraine.
You think it was the West?
I think it was the United States.
I agree. I completely agree, but he was the puppet. I mean, he won a landslide against Poroshenko as a comedian, which is hilarious. And then he comes in, and his entire administration is pro-NATO expansion. Hilariously, the guy who does what the U.S. and the rest of the Western countries want him to do wins in a landslide. That's always fun. But so he does that. And so yeah, I completely agree with you. But it's ultimately his responsibility.
Sure,
he's the leader of the country.
Well, no, I've told this story before. I just happened when I'm at Auburn and I take my first international relations course. You have to write up a policy paper like the next 10, 15-year window, and that country I pulled out of the hat was Ukraine. And my teacher hated this because he was very neoliberal. The EU, expand the EU, NATO, all this stuff. But my point of view is they should be neutral. Just look at the map.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't the most sophisticated analysis, but I'm like, just look at the map. They could be a perfect buffer between East and West. They could be a perfect place for the Russians and the Europeans to actually meet and both be involved in the country. It would accrue to the benefit of the Ukrainians if both countries had peaceful economic ties with them. I thought this should be neutrality should have always been the way to go.
Yeah.
And yet, there's a different mentality that has ruled the day.
Or Yanukovych, like, you know, hey, they're a superpower. They're a nuclear superpower with far more exports than we have. Why not have a somewhat friendly relationship with them? Like, why? But why shouldn't they?
Well, and you could, if we put ourselves in their shoes, you could say that's a tough thing to fight both, essentially, Russia. If Russia wants to completely dominate Ukraine economically, is I think what Putin was going to settle for.
Yeah.
His Eurasianist project, a lot of it was economic ties, and dominate also by selling a lot of oil and gas to Europe as well. But say Russia wants to dominate you, but also the West, and particularly the United States and Europe wants to dominate you, and you're like, I just want to be neutral. It's kind of hard to just be neutral. Both are pretty hell-bent on dominating your space.
But again, I completely agree with you that Ukraine is not in the best situation geographically and politically by any stretch of the imagination. But look what happened early on in the war. You want to talk about negotiation from a position of strength. They were in a far better negotiation position early on in the war before the United States and the UK quashed any sort of peace talks.
Right.
So I mean, Trump said you're playing around with World War III. No, dude, you're playing around with World War III. So are the rest. So is the EU and the rest of the European countries that are backing this.
Well,
you're
and
playing with
after 2014 and the Minsk Accords, the first one, the idea was that the Donbass, where all this fighting starts, would be autonomous.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be Russian. It wouldn't necessarily be. It would be its own little autonomous area. Like that was already what the Europeans were trying to work out in principle with the Russians. So it's like there was no reason for this to escalate, especially when you have U.S. officials behind the scenes saying Ukraine will never be in NATO, and then publicly they send the Vice President Kamala Harris after her 2:00 wine appointment to go, yeah, we'll bring NATO, we'll bring Ukraine, and come on into NATO. It's water's fine.
And the same with this, you know, it's very comparable to the Israel discussion, where it was like an independent Arab state was always part of the plan of the settlement of that area until some people decided to go against that.
The problem, though, there has been also what is the true leadership there.
You mean in
if you're going to have an independent Arab state, like is it going to look like the UAE, or is it going to look like the Muslim Brotherhood when they took over Egypt? That's where.
But see, that's what's so frustrating is because America has this really bad habit of overthrowing secular quote unquote dictators or tyrants or whatever, and replacing them with these insane Islamicist fundamentalists. That we're supposed to be scared of. So which is it? They're playing political games here, and they think we're too stupid to see the inconsistencies of their actions. It's like, oh, you know, if dictators do X, Y, and Z, and they're so evil and they're so bad. Okay, you can think of about 5 or 6 dictators that America has ostensibly not gone after. North Korea being the biggest one. Why haven't we gone after North Korea? Because they don't produce anything.
Right.
That's the
There's
only
nothing
reason.
we want, but there's nothing.
So is it are we protecting democracy? Are we freeing people? Well, there's some serious shiznit going on in North Korea, but they don't have any GDP, so we don't really care.
Well, and also they have a lot of artillery trained on South Korea, and they ostensibly have a nuke at this point.
They do, but do you really? Okay, so do you honestly think that a strategic strike?
No,
could not
I
be
think
done?
if Hillary Clinton had won in 2016, we might have gone to war with North Korea.
Really?
Yep. Trump himself has said that was the one thing him and Obama talked about,
Yeah.
and he took as serious as a heart attack. That's why he leaned into the relationship with Kim Jong-un so quickly, because the plan pretty much was heading in the direction of we're going to war.
Yeah, I don't think we should, by the way, intervene in North Korea. I'm a strict non-interventionist in that sense. But that's my point. You can't say that we're sort of the world's police against dictators and despots,
right?
But then completely ignore this the biggest one in the world.
And then some of our best friends like Saudi Arabia and like the Gulf Arabs. Yeah, I mean,
Jamal Khashoggi. Anybody? What happened?
Right.
What happened? Anybody?
Right. Yeah. And anyway, I before I forget, this part of the program brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. The entire last hour brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And Kim and Madeline are ready to help you with purchasing a home. Maybe you're just getting ready. You want to get pre-approved. Just start the conversation with Alabama Home Mortgage, and then you can hit the ground running when you think the time is right. But of course, maybe you're like, I'm ready to go now. I want to get pre-approved. I want to get shopping, buy that right house.
Let's go.
Well, they can walk with you every step of the way from pre-approval all the way to closing day. And then what they can do for folks in terms of refinance, especially veterans. You don't have to be a veteran to get a great deal, but the veterans in this area, if you're kind of in a crunch, credit card debt getting a little too high, just that monthly overhead is way too high for your liking, you're barely scraping by, well, why not call up Alabama Home Mortgage? And you might be surprised at what VA benefits you earned and that you can still take advantage of. I think that just happened with somebody who listens to the show. A veteran listens to the show.
Saved over $400 a month, Joe.
Right. So there are ways to, say, restructure debt to get back on your financial footing, and Alabama Home Mortgage is ready to help you, and it doesn't take forever. On average, it's about 2 weeks.
If that, yeah.
It's amazing what they can do for you. So you all call up Kim and Madeline today at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Like Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. Real quick, Trump, that press conference he did at the Oval we just played where he's talking about only I know this thing about Russia. Well, the thing he signed at the beginning was a proclamation. Well, I'll just let the clip play here.
So 2 very special proclamations, the first of which is a proclamation that proclaims March 2025 as Women's History Month in honor of all the wonderful women in your administration, all the wonderful women in America, and in honor of everything you've done for women and this administration has done for women in just, a month and a half? So
Yeah, we've done a lot. And women have done a lot for us, right? This is an honor. We have a wonderful woman here, Maria Bartiromo.
Thank you so much.
Nice to have you, Maria.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And
She's
thanks
gonna-
for all that you're doing for women.
Thank you. She's going to do an interview of me later. Maybe I shouldn't do this interview. I should be like Biden, not do any interviews.
Signature with the Sharpie.
What's that, a Sharpie? Yeah.
That's great. Women, we love you.
Women, we love you.
We love you too, sir.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Okay.
Oh, Donnie loves him a bit much too much. If you ask me.
I just found that hilarious.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The sound of a Sharpie against paper is age to me. I cannot deal with it.
It's a little much.
That caught me by surprise. I thought he'd have that nice official, official
fountain
pen or
pen.
something. Yeah, he's got a Sharpie.
I just love that, though, after getting done. Women, we love you.
And then just one broad in the background. It's like, we love you too.
We love you too.
I don't know about we, but a good amount. Yeah.
Oh, man. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, this is East. I've got a quick question for the panel this afternoon.
Sure.
Is anybody else uncomfortable with the Ukrainians embracing neo-Nazi practices and insignias on their uniforms? I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's been a interesting, let's say, wrinkle in this whole story, because you had mainstream U.S. sources, the prestige media, reporting on this long before the war was out.
Yep.
And because you think about that whole part of the world and that history during World War II, a lot of them helped the Nazis.
They sure did.
So there's kind of a legacy there. But then as soon as, Ukraine's on our side, no, you can't talk about that. And I believe, wasn't it the Canadian Parliament that invited somebody to honor them, and they found out, oh, wait, we shouldn't have done that.
Yes.
We did not see that coming.
After the fact. Yeah.
Not see that coming. Yeah.
Yahtzee.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That was excellent.
You're welcome. Women, we love you.
Yeah.
Love you too, seriously, Joey, I have real qualms about the stuff that's going on in the Ukraine. It's not as simple like you guys were saying. It's not just good guys and bad guys. And this, I think we're getting hosed.
Yep.
Right.
Hey, good show, guys. Y'all have a great weekend.
Thank you, East. Take care, brother.
This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services. And they're at Pest Pro Services. They are ready to help you with any and all of your pest control needs. But termite season is upon us.
It's upon us, Joey.
And they're swarming.
They're swarming. I was going to say
they're active as heck.
If you look on Facebook and you look on people's videos, you'll see the swarm, and people are freaking out. Like, what is this? Is my house possessed?
Because they're the silent destroyers. Like, they can get into the home, and you're not aware
you have
of
no
it
idea.
at all. And then all of a sudden, you wake up in the middle of the night, and they're swarming all throughout the house.
I've seen them in the hallways where you literally can't tell if it's a hallway or if it's something from outer space. There's just so many of those dang termites, and it freaks people out.
As it should. And it doesn't, you don't have to go through that experience.
No, you don't.
You could just watch a video online and be like, you know what? I'm calling Pest Pro right now. 265-9990 is that number. That's 265-9990. Or you can always search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. If you go to Pest Pro's Facebook page, they're putting out tips for Termite Awareness Week.
Yes, they are.
And so some practical things you can do, but the best way to deal with those termites, to prevent a swarm from ever happening even, is just call up Pest Pro Services.
There you go.
Again, 265-9990. When you want to know, call a pro. Pest Pro Services, and be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you. Now, there's one clip I really want to get to today.
All right.
Because it's a story, maybe I'll write about it, this experiment as well, because it is such a fascinating thing. I did not know this existed. This is about a minute long. It's Konstantin Kisin. And he's talking about the dangers of, say, a victim mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to some experiment done, well, not so long ago. Let's listen in together.
The group of women, and they put scars on their faces, and they told these women that they're going into a job interview, and the purpose of the experiment is to find out whether people with facial disfigurements face discrimination. They showed them the scars in the mirror. The women saw themselves with these scars, and as they led them out of the room, they said, we're just going to touch it up a little bit. And as they touched it up, they removed the scarring completely. So the women went into the job interview thinking that they are scarred, but actually being their normal selves. And the result of the experiment is that those women then came back reporting massively increased level of discrimination. Indeed, many of them came back with comments that the interviewer had made that they felt were referencing their facial disfigurements. And this is why I think this ideology of victimhood is so dangerous, because if you preach to people constantly that we're all oppressed, then that primes people to look for that.
I did not know of that experiment.
Me neither. That's fascinating, though.
So you send women in thinking they look disfigured. They're not, actually. They come back and report a lot of discrimination.
So what do we take away from this experiment?
Well, if you tell folks they're going to be discriminated against, they're going to think they're being discriminated against.
Oh.
Even when it's maybe not even happening.
I think a little different. Chicks be crazy.
Well, again, you grew up with too many sisters.
I just didn't know that's where we were going, but yeah.
Oh, that's good. No, it's true though. It's like you know when black people talk about like this racist person did X, Y, and Z. It's like, yeah, maybe you just ran into an a-hole. Have you ever considered
it's
that?
just a jerk.
Yeah,
The world is full of them.
yeah, exactly. It's like I think about this all the time. Of like I have like a bad interaction with someone in public, someone's rude or impolite, and I always have the thought like, man, if I was a minority, I could really take that to heart.
Right.
But I don't. I'm just like, oh, this person is just being
a jerk.
No, it's like, I can't be a racist. I'm a nihilist.
I hate everyone equally.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm too misanthropic to be racist.
Dude, yeah, I've been on a weird misanthropic kick recently.
It happens when I get sick. I get like let the asteroid hit. Yeah, that's when I get sick. I'm like, let it all in.
I'm
Start leaning into it.
I'm just driving down the road in Montgomery, and I'm like, COVID did not do enough.
Oh man.
It was. I actually had to apologize to my wife because we were driving in the car, and I was just seeing red, and I had to look at her like, I'm sorry, I don't know what. Sometimes I just hate the human
I just
race.
imagine it's like in Inglourious Bastards, Hugo Stiglitz. Like you just go into Craig's mind. The things he's imagining.
Don't I look calm to you? I told someone the other day, like, talking about someone, I'm not going to say who it was, someone in state media, and I said there's not a situation where I'm in the same room as him where I don't bite off a chunk of his face just on sheer principle, and I meant it. Like have you ever seen a face and you just want to bite it? Just
not really.
Not really bite.
Not really.
Except I want to hit and punch.
No,
Kissed.
like, see, have you ever like taken a piece of someone's ear off in a scuffle?
I have not.
No, it's more like
Bit of finger one time.
I mean, have you ever been driving into your radio show and somebody catches you at the light singing, lip syncing Betty Davis Eyes?
No.
No, me either. Let's
was
go to
listening
line
to Cher
3.
on the
You're on the
radio.
air. Who's this?
Hey guys, it's Donkey Lori.
Hey, Lori.
Hey, Donkey Lori.
Well, I was walking into Cohen while Eddie was getting Michael Cohen on the phone. So I am a happy customer now. I just bought a brand new washer and dryer to take care
Nice.
of all that foster puppy linen.
Yeah, I can see why you need to step up your game on that.
Well, you know, my brand new washing machines do not last a year because I do more laundry in a month than most people do in 6 months.
Yep.
So, yeah. So anyway, and the beauty of it is that I did not know this, but the director of our shelter says that Cohen is a very generous contributor to our shelter on a regular basis.
Oh, that's good news.
That's awesome.
And her, as the director, she buys her appliances from Cohen's.
Told you they were good folks.
And they got me in and got me out, and my truck is full of donations from the shelter, so I can go empty and go home and play tag team with my husband, tagging. He can jump in his truck and run back and go pick up our new appliances.
Awesome.
So, real excited about it. And you guys advertising them over and over again was my inspiration to go there.
Beautiful.
Instead of these other big box stores that I do not appreciate anymore. I divorced them. I want nothing to do with them.
Excellent.
And then finding out that how generous they are to our shelter and that our personal director uses them personally. So good job, guys.
Excellent.
See, you are influencers. You're movers and shakers. And I'm going to be able to do my disgusting puppy laundry tonight. Yay!
Eddie really is an influencer now with all those things him and Hannah have been posting about the house walkthroughs. They're so great.
Thank you, Craig.
I think you need some more color commentary, like spicy commentary.
I want to, but then my broker sees the video and says, "Hey, let's do a take 2 on that, shall we?"
Oh, fuddy duds.
Well, love you, Lori.
And I'm going to say this and let you guys go. I'm not real in on all the facts because I've been out sick for a little while. But our shelter, Jordan's Way, is coming to our shelter tomorrow, and it's a big fundraiser. It's a live Facebook fundraiser, and us as staff members get locked in kennels and threaten to be squirted with water hoses and eat bugs and that kind of thing if we don't hit our donation levels. So there's a lot of us staff members that are a little nervous about tomorrow and hitting our donation numbers. So just wanted to put that little blurb out there for the shelter for people to log on and donate. It's for a great cause.
What's the website?
It's Elmore County Humane Shelter. You're asking me the website, and I don't know it off the top of my head. I don't know. I take care of puppies.
Oh, that's fair.
But it is the Elmore County Humane Society.
Right.
And I'm sure if anyone goes to do a search, you can pull it up, and it's all over our Facebook page for the shelter for the timing for tomorrow and exactly what it's all about and how it's happening. I'm just an involuntary participant.
Oh, you do quite a bit, honey. You do quite a bit.
No, I'm going tomorrow against my will, but I'm doing it for the good of the community, the greater cause.
Well, that's awesome.
So,
That's so awesome, Lori.
Okay. Y'all have a blessed weekend.
You too, honey.
Well, Lori was putting out there, and she's such a good lady.
She is, dude.
More than we've even heard on air, I'll put it that way.
Yep.
Somebody commented on my emo JD Vance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And found a new meme called Vance Halen, Vance the Night Away. And every member of Van Halen now looks
Suddenly,
like JD
I love
Vance.
this.
But his face is still fat. That's heroin chic with a fat face. That doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
I love it. I love it. Oh, Vance Halen.
I like that.
And then, speaking of like things where you say, have you ever thought of this? Me neither. I said it earlier. Mike Myers is a flaming lib Canadian or whatever.
Yeah.
But I always will love Mike Myers. This is a scene from Wayne's World where they're laying on cars looking at planes go by. This was improvised. This line was improvised by Dana Carvey. So the laugh that you hear from Mike Myers is very real. Let's listen in.
Did you ever find Bugs Bunny attractive when he'd put on a dress and play a girl bunny? No. No. Neither did I.
We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Hi there, I'm Madeline Cannon with Alabama Home Mortgage. Getting pre-approved is the first step towards home ownership. People are often scared or nervous about taking that first step, but I'll tell you, it's nothing to be scared of. At Alabama Home Mortgage, we will take the first step and every step along the way with you. Call us at 567-4223. We will gather the information needed to tell you exactly what you qualify for. After a call to Alabama Home Mortgage, you will know what price point to shop for, what down payment is required, if any, and what your monthly mortgage payment will look like. We take all the guessing out of it. Then, when you find the house you want to make your home, you are ready to make an offer. Along with your offer, you will submit your Alabama Home Mortgage pre-approval letter. This shows sellers that you've already taken the steps necessary to ensure that you qualify to purchase their home. Wait no longer. It's time to take that first step together. Call me at 567-4223 or start the process online at myalabamahomemortgage.com.
That's Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Well, hi, everybody. If you have evening plans tonight, I think we're going to be dry through the evening hours. There could be some isolated showers overnight, and not as cool tonight. Overnight low 56. Tomorrow, I think, is a little warmer, up to about 76 on Saturday, with the chance of scattered showers picking up in the afternoon hours. And showers and a few thunderstorms are likely on Saturday night, and maybe some leftover showers during the day on Sunday even. Sunday will be a little bit cooler with a high in the middle 60s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
The River Region's News Talk station. News Talk 93.1. WACV. News Talk 93.1.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Well, we're rounding the corner here, gentlemen. Slowly but surely. And, well, the conversation off air was so good, but I don't mean to get you all riled up, I know you earlier, Craig, said have the dump button prepared.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to read some of this. And it's just a small portion. It's actually Charlie Kirk's write-up, a summary of a Fox News story. New research from the University of Texas shows that all the justifications for mutilating children were lies. They analyzed over 100,000 patients with gender dysphoria and looked at the outcomes for those who received surgery versus those who didn't. Depression, anxiety, suicidal feelings, and drug abuse were all, quote-unquote, significantly higher for those who received surgery compared to those who didn't. Let's repeat that. Treating gender dysphoria with sex change surgery was linked with drastically worse mental health outcomes. Phony doctors belong in prison for what they did to our children.
Yep.
Males, and this is from the Fox report, males with surgery had depression rates of 25% compared to males without surgery, 11.5%. Anxiety rates among the groups were 12.8% compared to 2.6%. The same difference was also seen among females. It's butchery is what they did. And I know Craig's being quiet for a reason. Because you researched this very early.
Mm-hmm.
What, John Money and Kinsey?
Alfred Kinsey.
Yeah. This is a dark, dark thing that somehow, by all the way back to those crazy experiments, somehow metastasizes within academia, and all of a sudden you have hospitals, top hospitals, advancing this and making a lot of money off of it. And in creating patients that will, I'm sorry for stealing your thunder maybe, but creating patients that will forever need their treatments. They're creating cash cows.
What did Elon say on Rogan the other day about empathy? About empathy is
suicidal empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is homicidal empathy.
Yeah.
And it's not, and it was empathy that was foisted on, it was foisted on parents who wanted to take care of their kids for the most part.
Essentially saying, if you don't do this, then your kid will kill themselves.
Mm-hmm. And so because of that, because the experts and the doctors told them that this is what you have to do, they have mutilated their progeny and they will see no further generations.
Yep.
They won't. So many people's family lines will die.
Yep.
Because the experts told them that this is what they had to do to their kids. Not only will their family lives, their family lines die, but their children, who they have allowed these interventions to be done to, will forever live with the horror of what they've done. Because I'm sorry, no matter I'm sorry, I've actually had to watch these surgeries done. I've had to watch what happens. You shouldn't. Nobody should do it. It makes Joseph Mengele seem tame, and I'm not being hyperbolic.
Right.
This monstrous practice of this cartoonish, not even convincing anatomical recreation of what you think a sex organ should look like, these people will never be the same. And what have we found? That the mental anguish and the emotional angst that pushed them to do this will not go away. So now you are a mentally ill person, but you are now a mentally ill person who is biologically incapable of doing what you are supposed to do, and you will never feel right in your body because you have mutilated it beyond the point where it'll function in any sort of homeostatic way.
And then I'm also sitting here looking, that was the Texas University. There's another one at Oxford. Oxford Academic Journal of Sexual Medicine finds the permanent medical procedures are themselves closely linked to increased suicide rates, and mental health therapy is still the ultimate solution, which is like common sense. Like I wasn't trying to be crass when I suggested, say like a woman in her 30s, like, I want a boob job.
Yeah.
I would say, that's your right. Or anybody looking at any cosmetic surgery, optional surgery.
Yeah.
That's your right. But do you really think that's going to improve your self-esteem, lady? Like, do you really think that's going to, if I just do this little nip and tuck here, things will be all better? Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
It's just a common sense thing.
I'm sad. Alcohol makes me feel good. I'm going to get rid of my sadness with this alcohol. Doesn't that always work?
Right. Well, a couple of beers.
Couple of beers.
Couple
of beers.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Mr. Schizophrenic, I know you think that you have people talking to you and you should probably try to get rid of those voices by taking this drill and boring the voices out of your cranium, but that's nuts!
Yes, it's crazy.
That's insane.
Yep.
We don't let you do that. But a 13-year-old who thinks that her breasts don't belong on her, lop them off. Monsters. Monsters. Ensanguined, blood-stained monsters. The hell with all of you.
Is it all right if we go back to Vance?
Yeah,
Halen?
you can go back to Vance Halen.
Yeah.
I would happily see every one of these bastards at the end of a rope.
Yeah.
Happily.
You're not alone. You're not alone.
These are children. You have butchered a generation of children. Butchered them. That's not even hyperbolic.
Yeah.
You take a knife and you start cutting stuff off their bodies. That's called butchery.
Literally.
And it's not medicinal. When you go in with if you're a doctor and you go in with a knife and you start cutting stuff, the point of that is to take a thing that is functioning improperly and make it function the way that it was supposed to.
Right.
It's called homeostasis. This is not that.
Not at all.
Man, and you had people for years, voices in the wilderness. Hey guys, we should probably knock this off. This is just in a smell test a really bad idea. But no, because if we don't do this, then your kids will commit suicide. Well, here we go. The predictable happened.
Yep. What, and it almost seems like, who are the people early to this on a big scale? Abigail Schreier deserves credit. Especially her just reporting on it, not having a medical background herself, just worrying about her daughters.
Yeah.
Matt Walsh deserves a lot of credit. What is a Woman movie, I think, opened up a critical mass.
Peterson too, Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson as well.
Yeah. So thank God for those people. And Abigail Schreier, I had been in the weeds for this, and then I read her book, and even then it changed my life because I couldn't put the pieces together the way that she did, and I was super proud to be a footnote in her newest book. And so yeah, she did the Lord's work, and she deserves 1,000,001. She deserves the Nobel freaking Peace Prize, as far as I'm concerned. Thank God for her. Thank God for the people that did not surrender to the idol of empathy in our culture and were saying and telling the truth. Thank God for Steve Marshall, because if it weren't, I'm telling you, these things would not be coming out if it were not for Steve Marshall either. Because he went to the World Professional Organization for Association for Transgender Health, WPATH, kicked them in the teeth and showed that their medical guidelines were fictional. They were just made up.
Well,
so
and everybody at the state legislative level.
Yeah.
Who not only voted for this but lobbied for this.
Yeah, they deserve credit.
Well, I think of I remember initial conversations with Becky Gerritsen in equal form about this when it was not the big issue,
and the feds went after them hard.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
good for Becky. Good for everyone that stood up and said that this is insane and that we need to do something. Thank God for them.
And I've always said on the whole empathy, it is suicidal empathy. It is like this all-consuming compassion. I mean, the archetype of the all-consuming mother. Never let your kids grow up. Take them away because you want to love them so much. And I've always said, like, I can empathize with somebody who grew up, they thought they were marginalized, they were different, and they had nobody to talk to. And now that I'm an adult, I'm going to be that one adult who finds that kid who is just like me and let them know that they're not alone. And then my counterpoint to that is, fine, it's not the worst of intentions, but have you ever heard of this thing that kids are impressionable? Very impressionable and molded like clay.
You know why? You know why we don't let grown-ups have sex with children, even if the children think that they want to? Because of that reason.
They can't make decisions.
Right. They can't make decisions. We don't let them get tattoos. We don't let them buy alcohol. We don't let them drive cars. We don't let them open bank accounts to a certain extent.
Right.
We don't let them do any number of these things. But you want to remove your penis with a scalpel,
No problem.
by all means. Thank God I'm a supernaturalist and I believe in true like good and evil forces in the world, and I believe that an entire society can have their minds darkened by sin. Otherwise, I would probably check out. Because I would not want to live if I were a secularist, I would not want to live in a world where people that share my genome do this wicked, barbaric garbage en masse, by the way. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Hundreds of thousands. Now, you could talk about the children. The children aspect is evil enough, but these adults, same thing.
Right.
Same thing. There's a guy in Prattville, and I always forget his name, but I'm forgive me if you're listening. You will talk to him. He lived for years as a grown up, as a transgender woman, and you know what he figured out? He figured out what so many of them do, that it did not make them content, it did not make them happy, it did not make him satisfied, and he went back to being a man, and he likes to tell his story. Those stories are everywhere. Right. And they are ignored on the left the way you.
Yeah. We do have to hit a break.
Yeah, thank God.
And ironically, the sponsor right here is Montgomery Men's Health.
Oh, yes.
The proper use of, say, hormone therapies in part. And, if you're a man and you are feeling run down and tired all the livelong day, you just don't feel like yourself. And in particular, you're haunted by memories of your past self, where you really could go all day, all night. You pull all-nighters, you just power through, and now you're falling asleep after lunch. Like, you have no motivation when you wake up in the morning. No sex drive to speak of. That very well could be low testosterone. And the providers there at Montgomery Men's Health can help you men out with any and all testosterone problems. It's just a quick blood draw. Just get by there. They'll do a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. Like I said, quick blood draw. They ask you basic quality of life questions to figure out all these things I just described as symptoms. And if you score comes back, you do have low T, they have treatments there, a whole menu of treatments, different meet your budget or where you are in life.
Right.
That can truly change men's lives. Men can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym. Brother. Better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, and usually even notice an increased libido. And you can actually book the same day that you call. That number, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or you can always go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hello, I'm Mr. Ben. If your vehicle has seen better days, fear not. Help is on the way. Mr. Ben's Auto Spa Express has added a professional detail shop. Specialized techniques and products are used to get your vehicle back to showroom shape. Hand washing, waxing, stain removal, odor removal, shampooing, minor scratch removal, and more. Mr. Ben's Auto Spa Express, next to Fraser Church on the Atlanta Highway. Come by for a free estimate. Look like you've been to Mr. Ben.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Live local talk. The River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
Man, I cannot complain. How about you guys?
Oh, we're all right.
Yeah, honestly, I've been running like a madman. I have not been able to listen today. What are we talking about?
Vance Halen. Somebody created a meme where it says Vance Halen, and every member of Van Halen looks like J.D. Vance, and it's that cover of the single Vance the Night Away.
You know what? They're not too far from being wrong.
They're not, man. Especially, you have to see the picture, Ray. You're going to be like, I get it.
Have you seen the one with the crazy purple hair lady in Congress that says she looks like a villain?
Yes. Yes.
And now I can't unsee that. I'm like, yes, she's a villain from Scooby-Doo.
Have you seen the one where J.D. Vance sings, looks like he's about to sing, "Tonight will be the night that I will fall for you"?
Over again.
I got to give it to this whole one good thing about all this. Man, it's been entertaining. It's given us so many good. If you can't laugh at your own people, who can you?
Right.
That's the best people to laugh at, right?
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. But I tell you what, it is not a laughing matter. It's flooring. And if you want us to come out, give you that free measurement, move all your furniture, take up all the old stuff, there's only one company to call. That's Travel Carpet. You can call us today at 285-8117.
Again, that's 285-8117. And be sure to tell them when you call 285-8117 that you heard Ray Bowles on the radio with Joey and Eddie.
Now I think I'm going to go home. Angie's in Birmingham looking for prom dresses with Sailor. So there's nobody at the house.
Oh, it's a good time to be home alone.
Oh, yeah.
And I've already put down 3 fake measurements, so they're going to think I'm working.
Nice.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
You
Have a good weekend, Ray.
Awesome.
I like that guy.
Yeah, Ray's good,
He's
man.
good. He's good people. He's clever too. When you're like,
I like Ray a lot. He's well, there's a reason I think he's been very popular in public life there in Prattville for a while.
Yeah.
As much as he hates meetings, we've learned that he hates
Yes, he
meetings.
does.
That's why he'll never run for mayor.
He's gully though. He's not afraid to get a little bloody in there. He'll
Oh, no.
he'll throw it in
No, he
bows.
knows. Well, it's sort of that Eddie. You can talk about this. You get like past age 50.
Yep.
You just stop
You don't give a
suffering
crap.
fools.
You don't have patience for people anymore. You don't give a crap.
No, it's true. Now, I often say, what did we learn today? Well, we learned that I think we want peace.
Yeah.
Yes.
And hopefully it actually works out.
I think we got a president that wants it as bad as we do.
And for everybody speculating on it for or against, it's like you ain't in the room. I mean, we didn't learn this today, but the Epstein files are going to be redacted, national security cited.
Yeah, but does that
Yeah.
throw doubt on everything else now?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure.
100%.
Just making sure.
Like, where's the JFK files? How come we still don't know who shot Donald Trump in the head or much about him?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yep.
You're like, you're president now. He shot you. You should care. Get Mr. Patel. Where's Patel? Donde está Cash Patel?
Now, I do believe the JFK, MLK, RFK are literally, like, in the order, it says it's like 25-something days from this order, and I think they literally are about to be posted on the National Archives. That's from my crush, Anna Paulina.
But seriously, what do we expect? Do we expect him to say that he wasn't acting alone?
I expected something really great until
Well,
we
we'll
got this Epstein stuff, and now I'm like, yeah, why bother?
I'm gonna read every single. Actually, I take that back. I'm gonna post it to Grok and say something.
Yeah. The new Grok stuff is remarkable.
Fantastic.
For research, for thinking through a complex problem.
Arguing. I like to argue with Grok.
I plugged in. Oh, I did that too. It's amazing. It helps sharpen your skills.
It really
It's
does.
good.
It'll turn you into a good debater.
Yeah, and then I plugged in. I took what? I've written 100-something essays over the last 3-4 years. I took 87 of them, plugged them in, and said create a meta-analysis of the themes and like rank order them, like which are the best, why, yada yada yada. But then I said, now do a psychological profile of the author.
Just a black page comes up.
No, and it was like, it's like stuff I thought and felt, but I'm like, there it is, like
There it is in
plain
writing in
spoken
front of
from
you?
this freaking robot. And I'm like, okay, this is, and now like when you can, I don't know, it helps. I then asked, what are blind spots I have? What ideas should I develop that are, that have developed? What are the arcs of my writing and whatnot? So a lot of things, especially when you're by yourself and you do this enough years, you're like, you feel like you're repeating yourself, yada, yada, yada. And it provided plenty of prompts saying, I would like to hear more about this and this and this from the author. That's just what I do. I write as part of my job. And I can't imagine for so many other applications. It is ingenious technology.
Yeah.
And then unhinged mode's always fun. Grok will curse you out in ways you never thought could be used in the language.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So.
Did it mention anything about the ladies?
No, I haven't talked to it about it. Maybe one of these days.
Throw it out there.
I'm worried because argumentative says 18 plus. So I'm worried if we did it on air, like treated Grok as a guest.
You know how that would go.
It
Joey.
might get a little dirty.
would
Though
pick us up very quickly.
there is a sexy mode.
Ooh.
Where I was like, hey, how you doing today, Grok? Oh, hi, how are you? Are you, what kind of mood are you in, Joey? I'm like, whoa,
I want Grok to analyze why you're not married yet. That's what I want. Like, I want you to have a conversation with Grok in sexy mode and tell me
In
why I
sexy
don't have
mode,
a
yes.
Okay, I'm going to do this live right now.
In sexy
I
mode.
might have to dump it, folks, because it literally says not safe for work. Grok, why am I not married yet?
Joey, I'm not Grok. I'm Era. As for why you're not married yet, maybe it's because you're too busy heating up rooms like this one with me. Why settle down when you've got sparks flying here? Huh? What do you think's been keeping you single? Too much fun or just haven't found the right one?
That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. Look at the time. Greg Udell is next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.